Hi guys, this is a quick shout out to Ryan from Brave Adventurers who's launching his Kickstarter for his isometric map editor which can be used on the VTTs like Roll20. Check him out, link to his Kickstarter is in the description. The day begins sunny and bright, and Lou Marblecut wakes up in a well.
Well, you were lying.
No. Lou Marblecut wakes in a well. What do you do?
Well, first, I would like to climb out of the well.
Okay. Are you making any attempts to do so stealthily?
No, I'm just climbing out of the well.
Okay. So as you climb out of the well, you presumably take all the stuff you had with you from the night before, and you climb out of the well. And as you reach the lip of the well, the sunlight beams down, and hits you full in the face, and the sights and the sounds and the smells of you. It's a lovely, fresh spring day. The air is clean and crisp. There's dew on the grass and on the plants, and even on the stones. You hear chickens clucking in the background. You hear the sounds of people setting up. Fresh baked bread wafts down the street from the inn that is maybe 10, 12, 15 feet away from you. As you emerge from the well, nobody is around for that particular moment. But as you do come out from the well, you do see some people coming around the corner. They look like average market salesmen, people carrying baskets of eggs, fruit, the bread that you could smell cooking perhaps. All those wonderful things, sights and sounds that you can see in a city morning, as the sun has woken you up, and you see it all, this bright clear sky, the azure blue, that seems to offer a load of promise and a day of adventure as you get all your stuff together. You know where you need to be is inside that tavern, and you can hear the doors being unlocked from the inside as a large half-orc gentleman opens the door. Bit early today, and kind of opens the door into you as you presumably head inside. So that's you getting out of the well. Cerulean wolf.
Yes.
You wake up in your bed. As normal, it seems to be a perfectly normal day. The dreams of the night before have just kind of faded in. The same strange dreams you've been having for the last, as long as you can remember. The details of this one are really fuzzy. You had quite a busy day yesterday, so you slept very heavily, but you know what you have to do today. Are there any preparations you make as you prepare for the day?
Well, it would probably start with a few deep breaths, because I know the mission at hand. But, quick breakfast, nothing too much. Grab a, snack bar for the road. Put on my various equipment and garb, and heading out.
Wonderful, wonderful. And what kind of equipment and how are you dressing for this particular day?
Well, I know it's somewhat important, and it's going to be a journey, so I put on my armor and such, and leave a normal mask, not my fancy one, and probably just put, a cloak or something around just to hide some of the extra stuff I have.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Let's cut to then, because we've not had a chance to speak to her yet. We'll cut to Azalea as she walks through this very bustling city, heading towards the place where she knows the tithe will be. This group of young people who are going to sign up to the basically the civil or military service to get themselves out into the world to adventure, to explore, give them some foundations, maybe even some treasure. And she's walking through the city. I don't know, has she been into a city like this before?
Never.
Never. Oh, yeah. Wonderful. So how does it feel? What is she doing? Is she seeing all these strange? It's the busiest place she's ever been. You know, there's people shouting out, "Fish, fresh fish!" It's like that scene from the beginning of Beauty and the Beast. You know, like that whole kind of like I'm trying to remember it. That I want much more than this provincial life kind of thing, and people are like waving mackerel about, and you know, eggs are flying everywhere, and fruit is being sold, and paintings and all sorts. Is it slightly overwhelming for her?
100%. I think she's like battling two mixed feelings of one being like uber curious about everything and wanting to check everything out because it's all like new experiences for her, but also people are problems, people are bad, and we don't like people. So she has the hood fully up and is trying not to bump into anyone, like desperately trying to dodge between people.
Okay, yeah. Let's go to Lafette. Lafette, it's been a strange morning for you. You know, you're following this butterfly that's calling out to you. This little butterfly at the centre of this city, and you can hear it as it talks to you. It's like, come, this is the way. This is the way. Follow me. As it drifts away through and winds round, first through these bustling cities, further and further away from the woods where you woke up, past all these great crowds of people, and then into a somewhat quieter, more secluded area where, whilst there's still people about, it's very clear this is a much less visited part of the town. And you see in front of you a bar with the sign outside hanging that reads "Tears of the Moon." How's Lafette acting, or Lafette acting as she proceeds through this strange sights and sounds of a city she's never seen before?
I'm a little bit confused because it seems like every single person that I've come across isn't as welcoming as I'd expected people to be.
Okay, and so are you going up to people to talk?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah,
okay.
But they just seem very cold. That's probably the best word. I mean, I've not got a lot of experience with people, so I just assume that, you know, walking up and saying hi and giving them a hug is the best thing to do. But they just seem very put out by my presence.
You go up to someone and introduce yourself, give them a great big hug. And this person, this guy with a long red beard that's thrown over his shoulder and these deep set black eyes, he stares at you, and he looks at you in absolute horror as he puts down this massive carpet roll that looks a lot heavier than it should be, dumps onto the floor, and as you hug me, what are you doing? What are you trying to do?
I'm just saying hi.
I've got my mistress. No other lady needs to come near me. I know exactly what I want, and she's the one for me.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, sir. Can I help you with that? It looks quite heavy.
You know what? You could, yeah. We just need to get it inside as quick as possible. The don't want the dye to be damaged by the sunlight.
Okay.
Okay, so you take one end of this carpet, and it's really bulky. It must be like brand new because it's really thick, and you try to lift it up, and it's super heavy, as if it's, you know, it's much heavier than you expect it to be. Mm-hmm. So could you roll me, please, an athletics check?
That's roll the campaign.
First roll, no pressure. Okay, 7.
For early TPK, I like it.
Yeah. So you struggle. In fact, when you take the weight of it, it completely surprises you how heavy it is. And the first obstacle you come to, it slips out your hands and thumps, just crashes down. And he's like, whoa. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, my love. I think it's best if I take this myself.
Okay. So sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right. You know, not everyone's skills are in heavy lifting, but thank you anyway. And he just drags it across the floor into the house, and you hear in your head the growingly familiar sounds of Chiken going, come this way. It's over here. This way, quick.
I hate Melby.
So without saying goodbye, I just turn and follow Chiken.
Yeah. So you're heading through the town, and so you come to this place where As you approach there, you see a very unusual sight for you. What looks like somebody climbing out of a well, brushing themselves down, and then heading into the pub. Well, it might seem unusual, but first time you've been in a big city, maybe not that unusual. In fact, Lou, can you describe for the group what you look like?
Yeah, so Lou is a female human, standing at the not so tall 5'7". She has this grey, old and very well used leather armor on, and a hoodie covering most of her features. You can make out grey hair and blue eyes, and fair skin.
Fair skin. Okay, and you're human, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes, human. So yeah, that's what you see entering the bar in front of you. It's about 20, maybe 30 feet away across the street, and not long after Lou enters, you see another figure enter the bar, Laffy. Azalea, what does Lou see entering the bar when you pass in front of her?
So, actually quite similarly to what she's just seen, she sees another female human. She's a little bit shorter, she's about 5'4". Has this big mass of curly, bright red / gingery hair, and is decked out in full traveler's clothes. She's got boots that are laced up all the way up her knees. Everything's very neat and tidy. And thrown over the top of it is a big cloak.
Okay, some pretty shifty looking people going to the bar before you. And then the last... Well, so watching these people go in, does Laffy go in following them, or do you wait outside a bit longer?
I feel like Laffy would... I feel like I'd want to look in the well to see where this person had come from.
Okay, sure, yeah. You head over to the well. It's the part of the town you're in is this gorgeously kept. All the grass is really well maintained. There's no weeds. There's very little litter. All the coals are really well kept in repair. All the paint is fresh. It looks like a really nice part of town. It's just incredibly nice. In fact, everything is clean and crisp and well done. But the well is the only thing that's falling into disrepair a little bit. A lot of the stone is chipped. There's some weeds growing around it. It's some of the stone is collapsing in, and you peer inside, and about 10-15 feet under the lip of the well is this iron grating that doesn't appear to have like a trap door or a lock on it, anything like that.
Okay.
Is there anything else you'd like to know about the well?
I might shout down. Be like, hello.
Yeah, it echoes back pretty quickly. You can't hear the sound of anything really apart from the sound of your own voice. You can't see to the bottom of the well, and you equally can't see any water. You shout down, and about half a second later, you hear your voice echoing back up as you, I suppose, as you'd expect, shouting down into a well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I walk away then.
Okay, and into the bar, or are you going
Yeah,
after?
yeah, I'll go into the tavern.
Okay, wonderful. Finally, last and certainly not least, Kudo. You have headed in from your forested area. It's taken you a couple of days to get in after you've found this blade of yours, and you've been sent here on this mission, which will tidy up exactly how that happened in the week. But you are heading into this city. Have you ever been in a place this busy before as well? Or are you a bit of an outsider as well?
I think only a bit smaller cities, but I'm familiar with the concept. Just it's bigger than what I'm used to.
I think you would probably, of all the people that we've seen so far as well, you'd stand out the most. How would you look to what would a casual observer notice about you first?
So first thing, I'm probably much smaller than everybody around me, about the height of a child. I'm wearing a very big rimmed, or what it's called, the flat part of a hat. A straw farmer's hat. very loose brown pants, brightly a light-colored top. So you would assume you are. It's you would assume it's that I'm a farmer, and or like working. Putting it medieval, working class, how you would call it?
A peasant.
But peasant. But unfitting to that, I'm wearing a very nice looking sword on my back that's almost too big for me to wield. And if you look a second time over the overthinking farmer's child, you would notice that I'm something that looks like a raccoon, most likely, for the untrained eye.
Excellent. So you're heading through this. You would know where you've been sent. You know, it is clear in your mind as you work your way through the streets. Is there anything you do as you head there, knowing that, you know, you've been traveling for the last few days, a little bit weather beaten, maybe a little bit tired, definitely keen to get where you're going? Is there anything you're doing along the way?
Basically, I would just look for something that feels like it would belong, or it would have to do something with the origin of my sword. Let's put it that way.
Instinctively know where you're headed, and you very quickly find this Tears of the Moon. The city itself is very, very busy on the outsides, where lots and lots of people living. Just gets quieter and quieter as you approach center. This idyllic, you know, perfect slice of pure culture, real money, you know, lovely buildings carved out of marble that seem to be grown out of the earth themselves. Everything's beautiful, everything's kind of flawless. And in the very center of the city is this perfect area where there's this large kind of University of Oxford style tall building that takes up a lot of the space, and in front of it is this gorgeous silver and marble fountain that sprays water out perpetually. And just slightly around the corner from that is this bar, this Tears of the Moon, that you find yourself in. And you enter just before this woman with silver hair and this unusual mask enters as well.
It's a normal mask right now.
Oh, so it's just a normal, kind of like a, it's like a
normal face mask, yeah.
Just like a normal COVID mask. Not super unusual sight in such a busy city where, you know, all sorts of things happen and illnesses pop up. So not a super unusual sight. Maybe a little bit unusual in this part of the town, but, you know, not the most unusual. And the five of you are in the Tears of the Moon. There isn't a map that exists for the Tears of the Moon because there just doesn't need to be. But the inside,
punching someone.
It's very grand and very distinctive. Cerulean Wolf, what is the first thing you notice when you walk into this inn rather?
Well, I've probably been in here a number of times.
Yep.
But, I mean, I probably noticed the weird trash panda that walked in front of me. And all of the, you know, the newcomers to the city, I recognize faces, and I don't believe I recognize any of these people.
No, you probably wouldn't recognize any of these people. What about Lafette? You walk into this bar. It's probably the first building maybe you've ever been inside of. What strikes you first about being inside this very grand and very well maintained inn? Is there any?
The first thing would probably be the sheer amount of people in what I assume would be a smaller space than, you know, like being outside. So I'd probably be a little bit excited more than anything, because I'd be like, oh my god, there's so many people. So many new friends.
Okay, wonderful. And same for Azalea. Is anything that really grabs your attention as you walk in? You know, like maybe say that, like maybe there's a smell from the kitchen that really takes your, really fires up your nose, or there's a sound that immediately draws your attention, anything like that?
Yeah, I think if there's a bar in here, then immediately she's like, "What is this?" and is like staring at it in awe, and maybe kind of isn't super used to seeing like all different kinds of races and things, so she's kind of like peering at everyone a bit like, "Oh my gosh, I've never seen that before. What are you?"
Excellent. One thing you do notice as you kind of scroll through, there is this elven-looking guy in this very ornate-looking armor that some of you would probably recognize as the armor of the Lifespring Alliance. It's this group in the center of this city who basically, not the police, more kind of like caretakers to make sure, kind of like the army almost, specifically to combat the undead threat that exists across this entire continent, kind of in this country and the countries beyond. There's this continuous undead threat, and that these are the group who kind of brought the country together and are leading it now and leading the fight against these undead. These are the groups who kind of bring together the tithe together, and there is this member of them there with this long dark hair, who sits there in this very shiny and very new looking uniform. He's got a couple of files in front of him. It looks like 2 or 3 files in front of him, and he looks up and goes, excellent. Please, if you could, the lot of you, 5 of you, this is an awful lot today. Please come join me at the table. It would be wonderful. You sit down. You've all arrived at the same time, which is very good. I'm very happy about this. Gilly, may I have, just come over and take some drink orders, if you will. If you would be so kind, that would be wonderful. And this large half-orc, the one that opened the door to you, Lou, comes over, and he's got these icy blue eyes and this large fur coat, and is twiddling a pen in his fingers and scratching at the nib of it, and sometimes it causes these little sparks. He glances at all of you with almost a glare. He goes, "Right, I'm Gilly. Who wants what?"
I will say that before I sat down, I put on the wolven-looking mask to keep up.
Gilly looks at you and goes, "Cerulean Wolf, I know you. What do you want this morning?"
No one else hears this, but in his head, he will hear, "Just some water, please. That'll be all."
No breakfast?
I had something before I came.
He turns to Azalea and goes, "And you, my darling, what can I get for you this fine day? Would you like some food, something to drink, some coffee?"
I think tea would be fine.
A tea? Okay, excellent. Anything to eat?
No, I couldn't eat right now.
Are you sure? Okay, this is going to be a cheap one for you, Isaac. Okay, now, my dear with a hood, I don't know any of your names just yet, but I'm sure I will. And he kind of points towards Lou. Anything to eat from the breakfast menu? We've got no one seems to be taking it so far, but we've got croissants, we've got toast, we've got full English. Even though we don't have an England here, we have a full English. We do have porridge. We got continental. We got everything you could possibly want.
The biggest glass of water you can give me, and all the pieces of bread you're allowed to give me.
I mean, I could give you all the bread in the restaurant, but realistically, how much are you going to eat? I'll tell you what I'll do. Do you want it as bread, or do you want it as toast?
Toast.
Bread or toast, my dear? Because if you want it as toast, what I'll do is I'll keep bringing out these, the little things with toast on it until you've had enough. Because I don't want to just bring you all the bread, and that leaves me buggered for the rest of the day if somebody else asks for bread.
10 pieces of bread, normal bread, and we will see how it goes from there.
10 pieces. So you want a loaf of bread? Do you want any butter with that?
No. That won't be necessary.
Okay, I'm just going to bring you a loaf of bread because I'm not cooking it.
I need to ask, can I make an insight check on this person? Like, what the hell?
A loaf of bread and a big old glass of water.
Like I just It's not an insight check, it's just a vibe check.
Have a vibe. What Blue giving off at the moment?
Would be noticeably hungry, and although she's trying to hide it, she is very excited at the prospect of free food.
No one ever said
Okay,
it was
so
free,
my
let's be
dear,
clear.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you the bread. You've asked for the biggest glass of water we can have, which, may I just say, is not the strangest thing we've ever asked. So what I'm going to do is bring you a jug of water and a cup, and you can just, literally fill your own cup with water, and I will just keep topping it up. Oh, bloody hell, I was like, this is a real bunch. Trash Panda, what can I do for you?
Do you have any mushroom stew?
Mushroom.
Gotcha.
Well, we have we do have mushrooms. They're not in stew form yet. They were going to be fried, but I can see what I can do. We do have the long stew in the corner. I could just take some of that and put some mushrooms in. But I don't know if you got allergies. I wouldn't advise the long stew.
No, that is all good.
Okay, I will throw some mushrooms in there for you. Okay. What about to drink?
Do you have God, what would I? Just some water.
Just water. Jesus. Okay, and
Or do you?
Ooh, what?
Or is it okay to already drink wine?
Well, we could do you a breakfast wine. Yeah, sure. If you want a wine, we'll do you a wine. It will just be a bit like half wine, half water. It's some
Perfect.
people don't like that. Yeah, I'll get you a breakfast wine. Okay, the Chablis Neuf de Wet. He turns to Laffy, and he says, "And you, my darling, what can I do for you?"
Do you have anything sweet?
We have plenty of sweet things, as I say. I can do you a sweetened coffee. I can do you a tea. I can do you pastries. I can do you, whatever you want, really.
I'm new to this, so I'll just leave it up to you. But I would love something sweet, please.
I will surprise you.
Thank you.
In his head, as he mentions pastries, I just say to him in his head, "Can I have a cinnamon roll, please?"
And Isaac, last but not least, usual breakfast. He goes, yes, for me, just the normal, please. Sausages, eggs, fish, some of those delightful beans, couple of coffees for the table, I think. And you know what? Surprise me, I'll have some wort too. And this big R4 guy in a fur coat stumps off. He walks past the stew, looks at it, watching the fire underneath the stew, and he slides a log in underneath it, and he waits for it to catch with his eyes gleaming with the light of the fire. And he goes, "I'm gonna wait for you to catch." And it takes a few seconds, and the wood catches, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's what it's about." And then he walks off, and he gets you all your food, and he starts bustling around in the kitchen. And this gentleman in the very fine armor stares around the table, and for a brief half second, he makes eye contact with the strange girl in with his face mask on, this metallic wolf mask. And he goes, "Okay, well, isn't this grand?" Okay, so this fella in the armor says, "Welcome one, welcome all. I am a representative of the Lifespring Alliance. You may call me Isaac Draven. It is good you are here. I will not bother you with a request for an explanation of why you have taken it upon yourselves to offer your services at this time. I am merely glad you have." And he picks up the files and starts shuffling through them, and he picks up one with a blue back. He goes, right, you are the 13th group this year. Hopefully none of you are very superstitious. Well, here are your identifying brands for this season. They are blue, and he hands out kind of 5 blue armbands with the number 13 on them. And I'm going to pass around the register so you can sign with your names, information such as next of kin, in case of misfortune or injury. Unfortunately, it has been known to happen. And he passes the board round as the food comes out, and this half-orc slams these plates down with the various food on them, and there's this, he literally hands an entire loaf of bread over to Lou with this kind of like knife, and he goes, if you don't want that, you can put, If you want anything else, you can just shout out. We can get you like mackerels and kippers and all that kind of thing. But if you just want bread or just want carbohydrates, I could do you a potato. And Isaac just kind of shoos him off. Now to business. Please just consume your food whilst I walk you through this.
Out a little straw and
Yeah.
put it into the water and start drinking it because I have a mask on.
He sees this and doesn't seem to comment on it. Now to business. It is most fortunate you all appear so strong and capable, and I hope you have brought along provisions as you are headed to the west, to the Lupin Vale. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with the area, but we have lost touch with settlers of the Vale, and would like you to check in upon them and offer any assistance if needed, or help evacuate if they are overrun. Occasionally the undead do swarm an area. We don't think this has happened here. It seems to have been a gradual loss of contact. Once you've returned and reported back to us, we can make some decisions on whether we need to re-hallow the ground. Don't you worry about that. But there is that will be your task. Though on the way to the Vale, there is one other small task we would like you to do for us. There is a house to the north that is apparently haunted, believe it or not, the north of Havenorel. Many reports of howlings and hauntings, and as a measure of your resolve, we would like you to search the house, like the house searched, and the haunting confirmed or denied. Find out what is actually going on there. I will warn you though, the house has been abandoned for many years. It used to be occupied by a rather mad old alchemist, apparently, but he vanished very suddenly. Very mysterious. Gives a lot of local flavor, well, that's the local reputation of the house. It's got nearby fields that's been left to grow wild rather than be farmed, things like that. And as the house technically falls into Yadridan, it is most unusual for the land to not be farmed there. Any growing land there is farmed, as you can imagine. In the last few months, there have been several reports of hauntings, shrieks and eerie lights coming from inside. Our clerics and paladins have been too stretched to invest. So, of course, it falls to people like yourselves. But on the plus side, rumor has it that the alchemist was very powerful, and it's entirely possible there's some great treasure inside, be it knowledge or money or whatever. Whatever you find in there, you can keep. Any questions on this so far?
How much?
Are you paying?
As
Paying what? Your
It's not a-
volunteers.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I said into their head, it's not a paid thing. You know that, right?
Whoa, what? Who was that?
It's... I sort of lean over and give you a look.
Glares at you.
I glare back.
Yes,
This
it's
isn't
just a volunteered
Yes, we are-
position. Yes, but as I say, I will pay you. I will pay for your meals. That is being subsidized by the Lifespring Alliance. So yes, don't worry about this. Your meals are paid for. Anything you collect on your way, obviously, you can keep unless it is too dangerous or magical, and we need to tax you of it. But do not worry. There are often people come back from these expeditions a lot richer than when they set off, so it hasn't really been a problem about payment. I will say that now. But yes, if you are really concerned, once you are back from this tithe, you could perhaps look at a full-time position within the Lifespring Alliance, and that does pay. But this particular journey would not be a payable one.
Can I just, at this point, really slowly raise my hand?
You may.
And then I just say, what's a volunteer?
Well, since you find yourself here, the volunteer in this incident would be somebody who is come to me, taken the food that we have presented in front of you, and then agreed to do this one small, I won't say easy, because it probably won't be easy. It would be maybe a little bit dangerous, but this small task which will get you out of this sometimes very crowded city, out into the world to explore, learn, find things out about yourself, make friends for life, visit, wonderful places, and maybe kill people there. I don't know, whatever. I have not been out of the city in a long time. Well, I'm only joking, but visit exotic places and the people there. There was one group. I think they were the Red Armband Group 7. They came across some smugglers, and they got into a fight with them because what the smugglers were doing they were finding kobold families, and they were trying to displace them and take their eggs and bring them into the city for some reason we never got to the bottom of. But what we did with them is they fought them and knocked them all out and brought them into the city for questioning. But on the way, they managed to escape again, and 1 or 2 of the red group were killed. So that is like the worst thing that's ever happened in a few years that I've been doing this. But usually what happens is people go out and there is, some form of undead that is troubling a small village. You deal with the undead. Everyone in the village loves you. You become a hero there. You come back and you become an adventurer, join one of the guilds or join the Lifespring, and go like that. That is generally how things go.
How come you don't actually need a new group all the time? So like, why don't other groups come back for?
Oh, they do come back, but if you can imagine, a group will go out. And then they'll come back in, and then maybe they will go and become their own adventurers group. That is, not unusual to happen. But once they go out under their own fire, if you will, they do not do what we ask them to do because they are no longer volunteering for us. And so there are things that need doing that we can't always pay people for. Things like this, our priests and our paladins can't be spared at that exact moment. So we need a group like yourselves. It's been this way for many years.
Have another loaf of bread.
Would you like me to? I tell you what, Gilly, come on! Can you get this girl some rations or some food or something? I think she's just going to keep eating bread if we let her, and that's not a good diet.
Wow! You just
and
polished
he's-
that
What
whole
Lou
loaf
has
off in
done
about 10 minutes.
No, what she did was she cut it in 4 pieces, and she began to put 3 pieces in her bag and just ate plain bread, the last corner.
If you need like food, then I can give you some food. It's not a
This
big
is
deal.
food.
Yes, I know, but it's just bread. It's just pure carbohydrates. That's not a good thing to just keep eating bread. Would you not like some protein? Some vegetables. Okay. Well, Gilly will be here in a moment, and the half-orc strolls back over and goes, I'm not going to give you any more bread. What I've done is I've got some crackers, I've got some ham, I've got some chicken, and I've got some vegetables, and they bring them out to you, and you can have what we call in the circle, the gastronomy circles, as a bloody sandwich, and that may fill you more than just bread, because that will just swell your stomach.
For the sandwich?
Sorry?
You're rich enough to afford a sandwich?
I own an inn, this is my inn. I serve food to everybody. So I'm going to make you a sandwich. I'm also going to make you some, because this is very strange. I'm going to give you some dried meat, okay? I'm going to give you some vegetables. I want you to eat the vegetables first. And then I'm going to give you all a cake as well, because, it's on his dollar, so it doesn't really bother me. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Don't just eat bread all the time. It's really bad for you. You'll get super fat, maybe diabetes.
Question: what is $1?
$1? Well, yes, that's what we used to call. It was like a salary in the village that I grew up in.
Ah,
Some people might call it a dragon, a coin. Not on my
Is
coin,
this
not on my
America in
dollar.
the future? Is that where we are?
Yes, the
In the
future.
past.
No, the future,
No, it's
after the dollar
future.
fell.
It's actually after the second term of Trump as president.
Ooh.
And it's divided into North and South.
Yeah.
What
No, Civil War.
already seeing our listeners, the numbers fall.
Don't worry about that. So he comes back out and he puts all this food in front of you, like little parcels of food. And the main thing is this: it looks like It looks like almost like a spinachy leaf, but it's much bigger. He goes, right, that is one of our homegrown lettuce leaves, absolutely packed full of really good things that would make you better, stronger, you know, iron. When I was a lad, my mother always made me eat broccoli. Now look at me, I'm as strong as can be. So I want you to eat these vegetables. I want you to have these nuts as well. And here's some meat. This should do you for about a week. At some point, you're going to need some more rations. But I will let you sort that out for yourself. Isaac is sat like at the table, just looking absolutely dumbfounded at the conversation. And he kind of
so am I.
Yeah, he stands up and he goes, wonderful. Now I must be gone. As I say, I've left gold behind the bar for food and drinks for you all, but now I must leave you. According to our estimations, it should take you about 5 days. 5 days to travel to Half Prairie, which is the closest town in the Lupin Vale. He puts a file on the table. Well, in fact, he hands the file kind of unthinkingly to Cerulean Wolf. Because I would familiarize yourself with each other, get to know each other a little bit, and your directions and instructions are in here. I look very much forward to hearing of your successes over the next few weeks. So when you return, please come back here. They will summon me, and we'll have what we call a debrief. And from that point on, you can become full citizens of Havenorel, or live wherever you choose, or wherever you can afford, shall I say, with undoubtedly the vast riches you'll find out on your travels. But as I say, I must bid adieu unless there is anything else you would like from me.
In his head, he hears, that wasn't too bad, a little bit stiff though, and the death thing was a bit much.
He kind of like half turns his head and winks in a way that hopefully only you can see, but let's see. What is everybody's passive perception?
I will tell him, he would know that if I allow it, he can speak back in my head.
Oh no, he knows. He's not.
Okay.
He's not
Yeah.
winning. So I mean, unless you've got a passive perception lower than 11, you would have seen him just kind of wink at, kind of unprompted wink at this this woman with this very, very straight hair and this wolf mask, and he is right. As it is, then I'm going to make myself scarce. Again, bon voyage, good luck, and do try not to hurt yourselves out there. It just makes the paperwork really awkward. So I shall see you all very soon, and yes, farewell. So he goes over to the bar and puts a little sack of gold behind the bar with Gilly, and then he walks out of the bar and
Assuming
out of your
that
for the
wink
moment.
is like a custom, I guess, here, she would wink back at him as well.
He kind of, his eyes raise a little bit, and he, even though he's elven and he's got this kind of flawless skin, there's a little bit of colour in the cheeks. And as he walks out, what is people's passive perception actually?
11.
11,
14.
15.
14, 15. Anyone with a 14 or above might just hear him mutter under his breath. Still got it. So after a moment or two, the barman, Gilly, comes back with some food prepared and is like kind of staring at Lou. He goes, "My dear, when was the last time you had a proper meal?"
Would you consider proper?
Well, okay, a meal
Not
with more than
bread.
like, yes, exactly, the trash pan, the nose, anything with like 3 or more constituents. So, you know, a protein, a carbohydrate, and some vegetables. So a meat, bread or potato, or pasta, or and then something green, you know, broccoli, leafy stuff, maybe even a cauliflower, asparagus.
Since when is cauliflower green?
Well, it's got green leaves. This is what you learn being in the culinary world, you know.
Is that to know that
Yeah,
cauliflower is a
but
vegetable?
living in the outside
It's
world, you
helpful.
know.
With a nat one, probably never.
Yeah.
Don't
So-
remember.
Well, okay, right. in all good consciousness, my late wife would not have allowed me to let you go out into the world with nothing in your bellies. So I would ask you sit here for an hour or so. I'm going to get some food into you guys. I know you've asked for a cinnamon bun, a bloody loaf of bread, whatever else, and pastries and whatnot. I'm going to get some proper food out here so you can have a good meal before you set off. There's going to be, everything I mentioned. There's going to be eggs. Yeah, done. There's going to be sausages, proper pork sausages with a little bit of leek in them. Yeah, bloody gorgeous. There's going to be some steaks. There's going to be some fish. There's going to be some spinach. There's going to be some lettuce. There's going to be celery and carrots. Not the orange kind. No. These are the original purple and white carrots. Oh yeah, we don't have the Dutch over here. And
Can I have mushrooms?
Yeah, mushrooms. They're already in the pot, my sunshine. It'll get you all a bowl of stew. It'll put hairs on your chest or hair on your lip, or wherever you want hair. It will give you hair. So I will go now and get it and bring you a bowl out. And I will be back in a few minutes. I will be two strokes of a lamb's tail, and I will be back. And he kind of potters off.
As he walks off, I just give him
water as well, and we're going to dump the entire glass into a water skin.
I just think to myself, this person's insane. And I just give a very, not very obvious, but up and down of all these people who are in front of it. Just, seeing what they have on them, if I can see any of that, what their skills might be. Just
okay. Okay, so let's do this then. We've had a brief description of everyone apart from one or two of us. So, Laffy, can you describe yourself to the group, please?
So I'm an elf, but quite short for an elf. Just over 5 foot. And I have really curly, long, very white hair that reaches my hips, and it's tucked behind my pointed ears to keep it out of my face. At first glance, probably the first thing that you would notice is my eyes. They're probably the biggest, most prominent feature on my face, and they're also a very deep set purple colour, which is probably quite unusual. And at the moment I am wearing a very basic white dress.
Do you carry anything like a staff or wand, anything like that?
At the minute, no, because I literally I don't know.
Fresh off the boat.
Fresh off the boat, yeah. I've just kind of appeared here, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing now?
Okay, cool. So that's what you get from Laffy. Seems to be very wide-eyed at the whole situation.
Very out of place.
Yeah. Does apart from Kudo, does anyone have any weapons visible, or magical focuses, anything like that?
Nothing visible.
Lou does have a short sword hanging from her hip. That's the only visible
Azalea
weapon.
has a really small knife strapped around her calf, but it doesn't look like a knife that you would ever use to stab anyone with.
I
would say that I remember someone saying their passive perception was 14. If anyone had higher or that, I'd say maybe you'd notice some weird, I'm wearing a cloak, you'd maybe notice some weird bubbles, there's something under the cloak, but you wouldn't know anything for sure.
And in terms of you're all kind of sat around this table now, and there's this moment of kind of awkward silence. But on this registrar that's been left there's a sheet like a carbon copy sheet of paper that is an exact trace of all your names and your signatures where you signed up. That's just laying on the table in front of you, along with this blue folder that it's got it's bright blue. It's just got 13 with these armbands. Is anyone putting these on?
I will take one and just have it on my person, but I want to quickly take that sheet of paper with all the names on it and just check what name is written down for me. If it is the other one, don't say it.
No, it's you. You've written it down.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
you who's written
Cool.
it.
Never mind. Cool. I just making sure.
Yeah. So you know, perhaps this would be a good time for you to guys to introduce yourselves to each other. So I don't have to do it.
Leans back into her chair as she eats this really weird, expensive meal. It kind of looks at everyone like, my name is Lou Marblecut. Don't get in my business, and we will get along fine. I can act as scout. I'm really dexterous. I can do a little bit of magic as well. Any questions?
Well, you can't put any questions if you don't have a text. You have to
Sorry,
question.
Mr. Lou. Miss Lou. Sorry. What kind of magic did you say you do?
Swing, Lou kind of snaps her fingers, and you see before your eyes that she becomes a mirror image of you with this guy's.
Wow. Oh, that's really cool, huh?
Illusions.
Oh, I think it broke.
Yeah.
Nope.
No. Okay.
Just
Oh,
silence.
I thought
Okay,
his
just
mic cut
silence,
out. Yeah.
I had like a cutout sound. Yes. So I thought.
Yeah, I thought so as well.
I was beginning to have a suspicion.
Okay. Okay. I will, after you introduce yourself, look at everyone very intently, and my feature doesn't say it has to be a single creature.
No, it wouldn't make sense to eliminate like that. So you can pick 12.
Yeah, I'll double check, but it just says the creature within range. In all of your heads, you hear, "It is good to meet you all. I am Cerulean Wolf. You may call me Wolf if you'd like. I am excited, I guess, to meet you all and to go on this journey."
At this point, hearing a voice in my head, can I... like, I feel like Laffy would be really confused and start, like, very, what's the word? Frantically start looking around the room, trying to figure out where the voice was coming from.
I just give, see you look around, I just give a knock on the table and a wave.
Yeah.
Doing
me.
that.
In just your head, you hear, "It was me, don't worry."
Okay. I feel like at this point, Laffy would become very, interested
Oh,
in
no.
Wolf.
So, I'm Kudo. Only recently really began with fighting, but I want to say you can trust me with being in the close fighting with enemies, so yeah.
What does your sword look like?
It's a silver sword that it has a very standard looking longsword hilt. That's the word. But it doesn't have the big long guard, it just has a small disc, and it's ever so slightly curved. And it has only one sharp side, which
Oh,
isn't...
like a katana.
No! How would you say something like that?
Okay.
Yes,
You can just say a katana.
but it's not exact.
Okay.
Are you able of doing magic?
A bit.
How much do you know about magic?
Maybe a lot, maybe not. I'm sorry, but I'm not ready yet. I don't know if how much I want or can trust anybody with information. I'm not really used to that many strangers. I'm sorry.
I give a very intent look at this trash panda.
In her mind, Lou now labels this trash panda as the smart one.
Out of character, intelligence -1.
Smart. This smart.
Askins no way of
So,
knowing that.
Guys,
so...
guys, we found the brains.
Lou,
Do you
how
want to
good
be party leader?
what is your insight?
My passive or just?
Just in general.
My passive is 13 and I have +3.
I think that's too high. Yeah, so that's me.
Right,
Azalea,
yeah.
in your head you hear, so what
I
about
guess
you?
I'm next. I am Azalea. I am not much of a fighter, I'm afraid, but I know my plants really, really well. And I'm pretty good at being outdoors. And I can do a tiny bit of magic as well. And you would have noticed, like, she's got a bit of a horrified expression. Like, as soon as the guy had said, hoping you're not all the superstitious type, she'd thrown salt over her shoulder. And then when the number 13 came out, she horrified expression. And then it just got worse and worse as he was like, oh, and there's a haunted house as well that you might want to deal with. And she's now kind of like shaking like an anxious dog.
In your head, I say, so the superstitious type, I
Superstition's
assume.
generally right. Yep.
You have now been labeled as the coward in Lou's mind.
So this table that we're sitting at, how big is this table? Like, could I reach across the table and reach somebody else?
Yeah, you're not like crammed in now that the fella in the armor's left. There's a little bit more space, but say there's kind of like 6 people that were sat around the table that was probably designed for like 8 people. So you're probably just taking up just over half of it, and it's kind of like a long rectangular table, and he was sat at the head of it. So you guys can be sat around it in any way you want, but you could reach out and touch almost anybody if you wanted.
Oh, so we do have still plenty of like elbow room.
Oh yeah,
So
you're not banging up
against
against each other, but this is like a very spacious room. There's lots of light coming in. It doesn't smell like an ale house. It smells very fresh and clean. Like as you are finishing plates and stuff, people are bustling around taking them off you. The water thing's been filled up like 2 or 3 times, and like some food. These bowls of stew come over, and Gilly comes up to you and goes, "Okay, guys, now, all right, I brought you the stew you've asked for. Mr. Trash Panda, you got your mushrooms. Now, I was listening over there, and I caught 1 or 2 of your names, I think. But yeah, here is your stew. Make sure you eat it all. Don't worry about it. It's been perfectly safe. No one's ever got sick from it. We've been eating that stew for 10 years. Yeah, can you roll insight?
9.
Yeah, I mean, you get the impression that he genuinely believes that no one's gotten sick from
Okay,
this stew.
believes it. Cool.
Yeah, you believe. Yeah,
Trust him.
and he goes, well, honestly, I eat this stew every day, and it's the same stew that my father laid down. We just keep topping it up. It's really good, really good. Every time you go into it, it's like a trip down memory lane, And I said I remember everybody who's ever come in here, and it's for what they drop in the stew, really. Because there was old Tommy Lightfoot.
It's like a lucky day.
Like old Tommy Lightfoot. He brought in Swede, and we've not seen one of them in a long time. We chucked that in the stew, and it brought a bit of sweetness out.
Wait, I pictured like a Swedish person for a second. Like a Swede.
Like almost like a turnip, but a bit sweeter.
No, I got it a second later.
Rutabaga for the Americans.
SQE. Anyway, so yeah, rutabaga. Sorry, a rutabaga with some cilantro. and then you've got you had what was his name now? You had old Kimmy. Old Kimmy brought in a load of fish once. We chucked that in, and that went down a treat. A bit of saltiness, a bit of sharpness. And then there was this really weird fella, and he what is his name now? He came from this far away land, and he brought in a load of beetroots, right? And he chucked it all in, and they turned it into a borscht. And I'm just trying to remember what his name is. I do remember him, and he's a very funny fella, because he was in and out. He had these kids, and they were fighting over the meat. Very interesting. You gave them the food, and they would just eat the whole bloody thing. They'd eat the eyes out of it and everything. It's real weird. So yeah, that was him. I know I say I remember them all, but I'm just desperately trying to find the chapter in. I think.
So am I.
Was it Valaki? No, it was.
I think it was.
In Valaki.
Oh,
Let me have a look.
I think that's literally what I was doing as well.
Anyway, so don't worry about it.
I'll find it.
It's fine. I don't think it was Valaki. I think it was Kresk. No, that Kresk was the Abbey. Anyway, he came from this town called anyway, whatever his name was, whatever.
I'll find it.
Yeah. Anyway, so he brought it was borscht, and that was very nice. And then we had this weird dragonborn fellow who came around and gave us a load of chicken, which was good. But mainly fruits, vegetables, beans, things like that. Anyway, I could talk your ear off about this stew. I say it's been here for years. It's been here longer than I have, I believe. So yeah, I eat it every day. And then we just top it up every morning. Just leave it on a nice rolling boil. That's what it takes. Make sure all of the impurities are cooked out of it. Anyway, I'll let you get on. So yes,
our friend said something about fried mushrooms earlier.
Yes, yeah, you mushrooms. Well, I put them in the stew. Do you want some fried as well?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, well, no problem whatsoever, my friend.
I'm sorry if I didn't mention it before.
No fried mushrooms. Do you want some garlic in that as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, we can do that for you.
Lovely.
Not a problem. Yes. Okay. Great. I'll get on with that.
Was his name Erwin?
No, it's not Doris. It wasn't Erwin. I'm having real trouble remembering his name now. It might even have it in here. One second, and he pulls out his thing.
Yes.
Was
not
Martikov? Oh, Martikov. His last name was Martikov.
Yeah, Erwin Martikov.
Erwin Martikov.
That's what
that was him. He had a very, very charismatic and lovely bed. He said that was a real star of the show. Yes. Anyway, I've taken up enough of your time. But I tell you what, as a little send off, because I know what you kids do out there. You've done it all the time. It's a little tradition. Don't tell the guy at the last thing. Apart from you, obviously, Cerulean. I know you can keep quiet if you'll excuse the pun, but we like to send you off with a little bit of fun in your bellies. So I'm gonna go and break out the Sambuca and say total off and get you all got Sambuca. Yeah, I know.
Are we in Lanzarote? What's going on?
You're not old enough to. Some of you. Well, it's more. I say where I'm from. I'm from down. I'm from down in Atherton, and we're a bit more relaxed down there. We allow our kids to have a glass of wine. I think it's like a toast to a good quest. I think go off there with you know each other. You've got this fire in your belly. And a toast to a good quest. So here you go, one for all of you. I put a coffee bean in it, but if you'd want to, I can light the Sambuca too.
Oh, is this alcohol?
Have it on fire.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Not for me, thank you.
Oh no, you got it. It's only one. I don't usually put pressure people into drinks.
Jesus Christ.
No, I said it out loud. I realised what I said as soon as I said it. So what I'll do for you, my dear, is I will go and get you a glass of water and you can float the coffee bean in it.
Sure,
Can't take
I'll have water with a coffee bean.
What?
I say, you can just give it.
What?
I'll lean over.
You
can just give it to me. Whispering.
Okay, you want one now? Okay. So I'll just go off, and he brings over like a paddle board of shots. Yeah, who wants it on fire? He's with clear glee.
I shake my head.
Yes.
Yes, okay, one, but make
Are we
sure
going
you don't
clubbing
blow it
after
out,
this?
just cap it off. If you blow it out, you're going to spray flame Sambuca all over the table. I've had it before, and whilst it's cool, it's a pain in the dick. So don't do it again. Please, just go naked, okay? So there's one for you, one for you, one for you, one for you, one on fire, one for the lady. I'm gonna leave you now, I'm gonna go. I've got the money. Don't worry about the mess. We'll clear it all up. You've got your rations or your food for the next few days. And we'll take it from there, okay? So yeah,
I take my Sambuca and straw.
I very slowly push my glass of Sambuca over to Kudo.
Lou is going to grab her glass and
I
slowly pour it into her
Jesus Christ.
water skin where she previously dumped the water, and she's going to shake it.
Oh, cocktail bartender.
I'm just looking shocked at Lou. What the fuck she's doing?
What? It lasts longer this way.
At this
I
point,
don't even have
straight
the
up-
energy to stop.
I'm just dead straight staring into your eyes, and with a stunned face, I'm downing one of my shots I have in front of me. I think I have only 2.
Yeah. Is
No,
one
you
of
have
them on
3.
fire, or is
No,
that
you have
from
3.
someone
got
else?
3 now. You got
You're
3 shots of
Laffette and
Sambuca.
Azalea.
at this point as well, can I reach over the table and like try and hold Azalea's hand just to like reassure her because she's still
Definitely
shaking?
jumps as soon as someone touches her, and then no, I don't think
Do
so.
you scream as well?
Just jumps, and then gives you like a grateful smile.
What's that thing you're doing with your face?
Sorry, sorry. What did I do
So
with my
edgy.
face?
I don't know.
I say in Azalea's head, don't worry, you look fine, and then I say into Lou's head, that was a little bit rude, don't you think?
It's more rude to be speaking in my mind.
Eileen, are you sure you don't want the Sambuca?
I can't breathe.
I have it right here. What's more, I assume what's a liter worth of Asuka in my water skin.
I'm sorry.
Lou, just take one of those. 2 is more than enough for me as well. Then I need. Just take one. Just enjoy it.
I'm pouring
Don't put it
into
in
my
your water skin.
Well,
Oh.
yet too late.
I will give you a slap on your fingers if you try to do that.
I already did it.
This is wild. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sitting here stunned. I'm stun locked in real life.
I lean
Like-
over. I lean over. And I just whisper,
I'm downing the second one.
People act like this in cities.
No, at least not in smaller ones.
I say in both your heads, it's not normal.
Lou is staring at both of you, garbage fan and elf, and is slowly taking out a quarter of a loaf from her bag and is going to eat it.
Wait, is Azalea also an elf?
No.
Oh, I thought she
Ah.
was. My bad.
So
I feel like at this point, the very sweet coffee that the guy behind the bar brought me is going to start to kick in.
Oh no.
Having never
Oh.
had coffee before.
Okay, so we've got Edge, we've got Hyper, we've got Trash Panda.
So you got
and-
Edge with weird eating habits.
what we've
No,
got here
it's just
is almost a K-pop band.
Oh yeah,
You pretty much.
I even have that sideways hair.
So now you've
Just saying,
severely.
Tyrano, you counting Edge as Lou. You're existing as well.
Thanks, but I'm trying to be normal.
Yeah, but you have a wolf mask.
Sipping
Just
Sambuca
saying.
through a straw.
A wolf
through a
mask
wolf
on you keep
mask.
speaking in our
That's
minds.
not edgy.
I think that's the opposite of Edge. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah,
Bougie.
So I mean, one thing you do notice is it was a very high quality sambuca,
Such
and when he gets back to the bar, well,
No.
you know, there's levels. There's like £1 a shot sambuca, and then there's like a sambuca that you would buy for like, I don't know, 30 quid for the bottle. And it's like, you know, I don't drink sambuca because I have that kind of like ingrained reaction as, oh my god, it's 2 in the morning, and then like,
Rancid.
You
It's
don't drink
horrible.
sambuca because you're normal. And yeah, because you're human.
and I'm no longer 18. Oh.
I have to be honest, I have never seen a bottle of Sambuca in real life. I've only seen one in
Bars.
in videos.
Oh.
I've not even
Images, Sambuca.
I mean,
No, I've never
even the
seen
smell,
Sambuca in real life. I've never seen
even
people
the smell
drink
kind
it.
of makes me dry heave. But my mum
God.
really likes it. She'll have it as like an aperitif at the end of a meal to settle the stomach. But she'll break it and say, "James, do you want a sambuca to help the meal go down?"
Oh
I was
my
like,
gosh,
"Unless you want it to go
James's
down the
mum's a
sink,
party
no."
animal.
On the wrong hole.
My mum's a bloody alky. But no, she's okay. But yeah, so you guys have, you know, enjoyed this very nice meal, what would have been a very nice meal, I assume, apart from the people eating it. And you cleared your plates, and in front of you lies this file, and you know the sunlight comes out from behind a cloud, and it's one of those really awesome moments where the sunlight hits the stained glass window and beams down onto the table and seems to illuminate this file in front of you. It's very, you know, very. Ooh, isn't that spooky? Isn't that ominous? Kind of thing.
Oh no.
It's another sign.
It's another sign.
Yeah, I'll look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
Take
pick
a
up
read
the
of it.
file. It's got this carbon copy of all your names that you've signed it as. The names that, you know, you've introduced yourselves as. There's right. If I mispronounce any names, jump in, tell me. So there's Lafette, there's Azalea, there's Cerulean Wolf, there's Kudo, and there is Lou Marblecut. Kudo does have a last name, but I've forgotten it at this precise moment in time. Let me just see what it was.
Yutei.
Uday, okay, Kudo Uday, and so you got all these names there, and in there is maps to get to the, you know, there's this really kind of like well put together file about how to get to this place called Half Prairie, which is the town at the entrance to this Lupin Vale, which is this valley that's been was cut out about 80 years ago. There was this like meteorite that hit the ground and scored this valley, and it's whatever happened allowed for you know, kind of infuse the ground with loads of nitrogen on like nitrous chemicals, which allowed for really good plant growth. So farming communities were set up there. So people were sent out to set up farming communities. All was going well until a couple of months ago when communication got less and less and less, and now it's pretty much stopped. This area was very famous for corn, you know, like wheat and stuff like that. So it's like a real cereal staple food. So that was in an area where in Yadra a large amount of crops. So it's very important to the kind of to the country of Yadradan that they find out what's going on here, and you know, shipments of wheat and corn can start again, because it's vital for them to be able to provide their own food in large quantities, even something as basic as wheat. And there's all this information about the various parts of the Vale, the 4 or 5 different towns that are in there, and it's all very detailed and very well put together. And then hastily, right at the front, there's a little bit of info about this house that they've asked to do. It's very much a last-minute thing. And he basically says, like, basically gives you directions to a place that anyone in the city, anyone who comes from Havenorel or even very, very south or near the city would be familiar with, a place called Sarah Falls. It's a waterfall, and then it forms into a lake, and the house is right near that, at the top, near the waterfall, and it kind of overlooks the entire lake, and it's in a very scenic spot. And like there's some small-hold farmers there that, you know, struggle to grow small amounts of food, but it's again a pretty vital area, and it gives you directions how to get there, and some like brief history of the screaming and, you know, the weird flashing lights that you see. But if there's anything specific you're looking for in this file, Cerulean Wolf, what would that be?
Just nothing too specific. Just make sure I look at all the names people have put down, attribute them to all the different people. And then, would I know anything about either of those places? Like anything past that? Like about what could be there?
Like that, the house you could get to. Like if you set off now, you could probably get there before nightfall. It's not super far away. It's not an area you're particularly familiar with, but it's like if you travelled fast, you could get. Havenorel is not a big country. You could probably travel across it in like 2 or 3 days, and you're near the centre. And this house is right on the border. So maybe it's like morning now. If you to really book it and struggle, you could get there before nightfall. Though it's in kind of a rundown, scummy area. The lake, it's very, very important for commerce. There's a waterfall, but it's also joined up with a couple of rivers, so it's a very important way of transporting food about. And in fact, Lou, if you were to see this file, you would recognise this is one of the places that you stopped off at on your boat on the way down, though you didn't, you don't remember anything specific about it. You just vaguely recognise and remember that you were on a lake, sometime in the last few days, and put two and two together, it must have been this one. So it's very important for getting, stuff from one end of the continent to another. But the Looping Vale, you never really heard of before. It's it's like a settlement. It's one of the many settlements that people have gone out of their way to try and set up again after people retreated into the big cities after the war. Settlers went out there. They grew this corn, this wheat that was very distinctive because of it's pinkish red colour. Apparently, it tastes really weird and really nice, but the fact that they were growing it was a miracle in of itself. And there are 4 major towns in the Looping Vale. There's Half Prairie, which is the first one you'd come to in the mouth of the valley. There is Labon, which is the second one that's kind of along a riverbed. There's a town called Perfection, which is kind of the main shopping hub of the Vale. That's where a lot of the people who did the artificy and the smiths went to. And then there's the final one, the deepest, kind of right at the back of the valley, in which was the first settlement, which is the heart of the initial farming expedition, is a town called Wolfwake. But other than that, that's all the information they have there, apart from estimates about the amount of people would live there, and the vague descriptions of each town.
Okay, so I sort of finished reading that, recalling information, and just sort of put it out to the table for anyone else who wants to read it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you can all have a glance at it. You've not been told you have to get there by a certain date, but that from context clues, you'd expect this journey to take a week to get there, a week to get back, and maybe a week or so kind of on site, because each town is about a day.
Walking, right, or on horse?
I mean, unless you have another way of traveling, it'll be walking. Yeah.
Okay. Traveling expenses not included, I assume.
Unless you have it yourself, you've not been provided with anything.
Okay.
Horses are very expensive to buy as well.
Yeah. So when are we leaving?
Yeah, I was going to say, I look at everyone, sort of, just thinking to myself, this looks like a bunch of idiots. I sort of stand up, look around, and say, well, we can, from what I remember, we can make it to the city, make it to the mansion or the house, by nightfall if we move quickly.
Well, that seems preferable.
You all ready to go then?
Anything I need to do here?
Yes.
And did I get my fried mushrooms?
Yes, you have. And
okay.
As you kind of start wrapping up, he goes, now, guys, if you want to take any of this to go, as I say, give you some rations, but it's all been paid for. And between you and me, they paid a lot more than what you actually ate and drank, because most you just asked for friggin' water. But if you want me to, I can bag it up for you, so you can take it with you.
I have the coin that's not being used to pay the meat.
No, I'm afraid it doesn't work like that, my dear. Listen, is a business after all, but I can give you something more important than money.
You're about to give me advice. I don't want it.
I am about to give you some advice. Yes.
Go.
My advice would be, as always, don't just eat one thing. You will get bound up, and you do not want to be constipated out in the wilds. Because when
I have 2 types of bread in my backpack. I'm fine.
but it's still just bloody bread. But when I did my tithe, right, I was the same thing. I was really into ramen and only ate noodles for like 3 months. And I tell you what, I did not go to the toilet for 3 days at one point, and it was like rabbit droppings at the end of it. It was not good. So I ate a lot of those leafy greens, and the difference immediate.
I just give him a pat on the shoulder and say in his head, "Don't worry, I'll try and work on it."
You take care of them, C-dubs, and I shall speak to you very soon.
Cringe a little bit.
That little inside.
Yeah. And usher everyone out.
Before we leave, I'm going to look for a very special waiter.
A very special waiter. So it's quite early in the morning. There's there's Gilly and there's like one other woman working there. She's just in like a normal smock, just like in normal clothes. What kind of waiter are you looking for? Oh, you're looking for. You don't see anyone that stands out. You don't see anyone with the markings you were told in here.
Okay, then I'll leave.
You guys all head to the door of the bar. Do you open the door?
Yes.
Excellent. So you open the door, fine, no problem. And you step outside, and again, you were in there, say, 45 minutes to an hour. You had a nice leisurely breakfast. You weren't rushed out by any means. It's like the fantasy equivalent of 10 in the morning on a,
10 in the morning.
Yeah, 10 in the morning on an average Tuesday, but fantasy that. So it's like it's pre-noon on the 31st of Hallowfall, kind of thing. I ain't doing that shit, so you guys can fill that in. But it's it's mid morning on a Tuesday. It's spring. It's lovely. It's the wind is coming in from the it will be coming in from the west. And whilst you're in the smack bang middle of the country, there's like a freshness coming in. It's lovely. You can feel it rustling through your hair if you have hair long enough to allow you to feel like that. You've got food in your belly and a license for your telly, and you're all ready to rock. So things are looking good. And who's leading, by the way? Are you going straight to this house, or what? What
everything else to do?
This is the one thing I've asked you to do.
Yeah, I know. I would be leading us to the house. If anyone else wants to do anything, they can do it.
Aldo's going directly for the house as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So the only person there I would say would have like any reasonable chance of knowing where this house, specifically this house is, would be Cerulean Wolf. So you're leading the way. What does that look like? What does it look like when you take charge?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm taking charge. I'm just sort of leading us in the direction. I'm just making sure. It's almost like a school field trip where I'm trying to make sure that, like, specifically Laffy and Azalea don't get caught off and wander somewhere. So I'm watching very intently because they seem scatterbrained at least.
Wow.
Don't lie. Don't act surprised. So I'm just, watching and leading in the direction.
Okay. Is anybody lagging behind? This is a lot's happened this morning. It's been a busy day for some of you. There's lots of new sights and sounds. Is everyone able to keep up? Or do people get easily distracted?
I am probably marching pretty quickly because I naturally.
I feel like with the amount of bread that Lou's eaten, maybe.
Well, it wasn't pure bread. She also used.
Don't lie to us.
Oh yeah, it was pure bread.
Bread and sambuca, breakfast.
No, it wasn't even sambuca. That's in her water skin with the water.
No, she made a literal bread sandwich.
Oh god.
She did say she had 2 types of sandwich.
Oh, nauseous.
But yeah, you're heading out of Havenorel, you walk past the Lifespring Alliance, where Isaac presumably walked into. As I said, it's this huge, glorious marble building. You know, gold filigree all around it, iron sconces coming out the arsehole. It's beautiful.
Take a shot.
But birds take, roosting in it. It's clean, it's fresh. So fresh and clean, and it's just beautiful. The sunlight glints off it. It's the biggest building for longer. It's like a combination church, university, and there's definitely some space in the middle of it that looks open. But I suppose only one of you would know what was inside of there, because it's not open to the public. And you just kind of heading north, you wide through some side streets, and slowly things get a little bit less nice and a little bit busier, and it becomes more of a normal street. You get the smell of candy apples wafting from down the street. You get pancakes and people selling food on the side of the street. You have buskers, you have singers, you have clerics and people handing out leaflets come to our church on Saturday. The new dawn will bring you life everlasting under the new sun's gaze.
I take a pamphlet.
You take a pamphlet. Which one? So there's a couple of them, all kind of vying for attention. There's there's the Dragonborns looking for the Dragonborns who are trying to hand out leaflets about the have you heard of our Lord and Savior Baphomet kind of thing. There's these guys who the new dawn who are handing stuff out. It's this kind of
I take the new dawn one.
Okay, you've got one for them. It's all about accepting the new light into your life and wishing on falling stars to make. And this is the one religion that will give you something back. It's all that kind of fantastic stuff that you hear all the time. These guys are pretty new. These guys have only started popping together over the last couple of years. In smaller groups, but they're definitely getting a bit of a following as you walk through. The guy who hands it to you is this really, really tall human. We're talking 6.5 feet tall, and he's so skinny. He's gaunt to the point of not starvation, but you can see it in the cheeks. You can really tell this guy needs if he would have been in that restaurant, he would have been given.
He would have done what Lou did.
Yeah, he would have just eaten fucking bread. But yeah,
I take a leaflet from every single person who hands them to me and thank them as well.
Oh, they're really happy that you're showing an interest. So this tall guy, it says on his name, he's got a little wooden carved name badge, and it says Duffy McGill on it. And he kind of handed you down this leaflet, and it's this handwritten leaflet about the new dawn, and then the Dragonborns one's a little bit nicer. It's it's been pressed and printed, and the Dragonborn's got this really, really unusual splotchy skin. It's almost white skin, but with patches of this really, really vivid kind of like amber on it. It was fascinating to look at. It's kind of like what's that thing where you don't have pigment in your skin? I can't remember the word of it. But you know where it has not albinism, but like you sometimes get like a patch of like pale skin on the mouth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not lumbago. It's got an unusual. Anyway, it's got
vitiligo. Vitiligo.
Vitiligo, yeah. It's got like vitiligo, but like with scales. So they've got these like this beautiful, like deep color, like that really gorgeous ambery color. Like Jurassic Park style orangey that glints with a little bit of gold. But then equally, you've got this bit with absolutely no pigmentation on it, and it's like spots. It's like he's spilt bleach on his arms, and he's preaching about Baphomet, and he wants how the
Baphomet or Bahamut?
Bahamut, sorry, Bahamut. About Bahamut. Yeah, Bahamut. And he's preaching about how great it is to have a living God who it like allows you to empower yourself. And then there's like people preaching about the Sky Father and the Ocean Wanderer, and just all sorts. And if you show an interest, they'll like just hand you leaflets. They're like, oh, if you're here in a few days, if you're here tonight, come to a service. We do hot tea, we do biscuits, we do cake. It's real nice. It's really good for meeting people, and so you get a bit of community going, a bit of a sing along, and you just like they're just hassling you.
As they keep hassling because it seems like Azalea cannot stop a conversation. I'll just just put myself between them in the person's head. I just say, sorry, we need to be somewhere. And keep
okay.
walking.
I
We'll
don't know
do that
if I'll
then, yeah?
need to make it, but I'll try.
No, yeah, we'll do that. We'll save you a seat and like give you that real guilt trip.
Thank you.
You know, like when you
I feel
first
like-
visit a city.
Every time Wolf gets Azalea away from them, after they've kind of walked a little bit further away, I feel like I'd hug everybody.
Oh yeah, it's like yeah. Wolf, it's becoming increasingly obvious to you.
You really
Like,
are like
getting there by nightfall, a
Yes.
real. It's like there's a moment where you think, "Am I going to have to make them all hold hands with me?"
Laughing in your head, you hear, "Can you come here now, please?" And you can hear like a waver in my voice. I'm getting stressed. Oh my god.
Excellent.
I feel like
This is
upon
what we
that,
want.
I feel like
We
when
need
Wolf
high
said
vis
in my head, "Come here," at that point I would like run over and like link arms with her, which would probably make her very uncomfortable. So I'd probably link, so I'd have Wolf on one arm and then Azalea on the other.
Looking
I
like
look
the cover of the
incredibly
Wizard of Oz.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Giving all of this like a weird look, like making sure nobody like looking around, making sure that nobody connects the fact that she is part of this group. Like she doesn't want anything to do with this. She's like, I'm done with this.
It's like
And she's-
part of me wants to try and move away, but I'm just like, this like. Ugh.
Oh, Lewis still eating bread, by the way.
At
Just
first,
Oh
bread.
no.
At first,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
looking at this very confused. After
So am
like
I. I'm part of
after like half a minute of staring at it, I will just shrug with my shoulders and join at one end.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
The end that is closer to me in height.
Probably Xavier's end.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh wait, no. Laffy's shorter. Never mind.
Well, I think Laffy's in the middle.
Oh, okay. Then yeah.
It's like, Jesus. So yeah,
Or you
I just,
literally look like your child that's just like linked
Yeah.
up with you guys.
and it's like you actually probably almost do look like my child because we have weirdly similar features. Like, it's not
I mean,
very
it's
It's
noticeable.
old enough to be a mum.
No, it's not very noticeable, but you can sort of see I have very slightly pointed ears, like an elf, and the hair color's sort of similar and stuff. And I'm just like, you can see in my face I'm stressed out as we keep going.
As you go, one of the like this, you visibly stressed out. You hear, "Oh, my dear! Before you go anywhere, I can help you if you are having a rather tough day. You see, I have a remedy right here."
I stare daggers into him as he looks at me.
And do we look like we have a rough day?
Well, yes. And you see this elderly man with white hair that's wildly jutting out from his temples. He's got a monocle, but in each eye is a bicycle, if you will,
Okay.
and a necklace that has a half-eaten corn cob and shoes that made from untreated seal skin. It's very hard to say, and he has a very, very slight nosebleed.
I keep.
no.
Oh wait. Okay, I was about to keep walking off, but I sort of unlink my hand from Laffy and sort of look at him, just say in his head, "Are you alright?"
Oh, yes. I go here every day, keeps the doctor away. Odor or Polimp or Poolimp or Podlimp or whatever you want to call me.
Can I make an insight check? Is this guy insane?
Please make an insight check.
Because if so, I'm just gonna walk up. 22.
This guy looks rather kooky. Like his
Okay,
eyes. He's wearing two monocles. He's got a bit of a nosebleed, but it's probably fine. And he's got a necklace that has like some corn that he's clearly been chewing on.
I hand him like a handkerchief to wipe the nosebleed, and I say, "Sorry, we must be on our way."
Oh, but do you not want to hear about my lotions and potions? People call me.
Oh, I really don't.
Well,
I'd like to
okay.
hear.
Oh,
Excellent. So, what ails you, my dear? What ails you, my dear? Anything ail you? Anything at all?
What?
Well,
There it is, okay.
yeah, get me foot.
I don't have any ailments at the moment.
Oh,
Me
well, I can't cure something if you haven't got anything wrong with you. Have you had an ailment recently?
I guess I got
This-
hay fever on the walk down here.
Hay fever. It's a terrible affliction. Terrible affliction. So, what I could suggest
Any
is
Puritan?
pardon?
Hmm?
Well, it's only 2 silver. But if you snort a bushel of black bear hair just once a year, it should really clarify.
In that, I step between.
Hmm.
I step in like between the hands
Oh
and
wow,
shoulders.
I've
and
never
say,
tried
we
that
must,
before.
We must get going. I'm sorry, and I sort
No,
of forcefully turn you and start walking off.
Remember, I'm the ditch doctor. If you ever need any assistance here, I can go for anything. And he just
Thank
kind of,
you,
like,
Mr.
runs off.
Ditch Doctor.
As
While leaving, can I make a survival check and trying to help Azalea with her hay fever? Having lived in the forest a great deal of my life, I should know some
yeah, sure, by all means.
home grandmother
Homebrew,
remedy
yeah,
for
some
it.
home remedy, sure. Yeah, I know a few home remedies for hay fever. I get it like a bitch.
Please let me. Oh,
Hate. So you remember hearing that people who suffer from allergies like hay fever, if they get the flower and just rub it in their faces, sometimes it helps.
Jesus Christ.
so Azalea, if you need help with your hay fever, I think confrontation therapy. I've heard that should help.
Huh.
I stand behind him,
Like-
shaking my head.
Yeah, I'll give it a try.
Poor wolf.
Can we just get going, please, you all here?
I think a brother of mine used that once to help with his birch allergy. Birch?
It's birch. What's it
like the
birch?
tree.
Yeah, the tree.
Oh, birch. Okay.
So as you're walking through the city, and being led by increasingly huffy Cerulean wolf, laughing, you notice that as you're getting kind of out into the weeds a little bit, and as the city gets busier and busier, you get kind of away from, let's call it, the money and into the place where people actually live. Things get a little bit busier, and it's easy to kind of lose sight of the party a little bit. You can keep an eye on them. You're being kind of dragged along. You see
I keep
some
a very
writing on
close
the
eye on
wall.
everyone.
Yeah, you see some you see some writing on a wall, or some marks on a wall rather, that at first glance look like just random marks, just like someone's just turned around too quickly with a ladder and scored something into the wall. But it catches your eye because you can understand it. It's really weird. This, whatever it is, it's a message, and it says Sissy's house.
What?
So I'm guessing that it's on the side of a house.
No, it's on the side of like a building, and beneath where it is this like almost like beneath this there's like how best to describe it? like a trash like what do you call them, like a home, like a little vestibule between two bins, and it's like a cardboard thing on top of it, and someone's living underneath the cardboard.
Oh, okay. So I would approach this cardboard hut and peek inside and see if there's anybody in there.
Yeah, so wearing rust-spun clothes covered in scavenged and upcycled armour and city street stains, with dark hair and 2 thick braids that hang on either side of a chest, carrying a leg that looks like it was ripped off a mannequin, you see a young human woman kind of glaring up at you, and sat in front of her is a cat with what looks like the mark of a cockroach on its head, like a you ever seen a kitten? It's like a cat with like a little perfect little Hitler mustache. It's like that, but like a cockroach on its head.
Christ.
And then there's a brown sat on the other side, and then the cat and the mouse just seem to be like just getting on with her. And she kind of looks up at you, and she's like, "Hey, can I help?"
I think at this point I would just introduce myself and ask about the writing on the wall.
Go ahead.
Oh god. Hi, I'm Lafette. I don't suppose you know what this writing on the wall is, do you?
Lafette, what? Right? And she comes out and pokes around, and you're pointing at the marks. Just, oh yeah, that's it's to let other druids to know that I'm here. Can you read that?
I can, yeah.
Ah, cool. Oh well, it's an art in a language we call Druidic. If you can read it, I'm surprised you didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I can read it. I'm not sure what it means by Sissy's house.
Oh, this is
Are
my
you
house.
Sissy?
I'm Sissy, yeah. Sissy Ontario.
Oh, lovely to meet you. And then I'd
Nice
reach
to
out
meet
and shake
you.
her hand.
Hi.
Assuming that she shakes my hand back, I would then pull her into a hug.
Oh yeah, sure. Yep. She pats you on the back. So this is unusual. Nice. I'm guessing you're pretty new to the city then.
You could say that. Not just the city. Oh my god, this dog.
Well, if I can give you a little bit of a hint, we don't always hug people we meet for the first time in cities. It's great that you do. More power to you, girl. But some guys here, a little bit light-fingered. They might, I don't know, take some out of your pockets. I can see you've not got pockets, but they might take they might take stuff off you. This is it's just druid. See, it's just the secret language of druids.
At this point, I would look kind of embarrassed about the fact that I've been hugging everybody. and then
you do you though. I'm not here to judge. You do you. If that's it's great. You're putting out into the world the kindness you want to see. It's just that some people out there might take advantage of you. It's just a little one. From druid to druid to girl.
And then I would very slowly say, be like, what's a druid?
How to describe this? So, how like the world has like an ecosystem, and there's the nature kind of like the wilds out there in the world, and then there's there's like the city, and people want to control stuff. Well, the world outside, the wild of it, is like got magic and stuff. And as she's talking, she's waving this mannequin leg about, like just swinging it about willy nilly. And what druids tend to do is use that magic to help the balance and keep the bad stuff from getting in, so everything can grow. So I keep the balance in the city, and it's not, you're the first other druid really I've seen in a while here, or the first person who can read this anyway. And I'm here to make sure that, like, because they're a really important part of the city, that the rats and the cockroaches aren't killed out. Because we need them, because they like eat all the junk, and without them, like, there'd be other stuff that might be worse. Like, yeah, does that make sense?
So with this absolute onslaught of information, I'm just slowly nodding and not saying a word. I don't know what's going on.
So we haven't seen any like stray dogs or cats in the street, right?
No, you would have seen stuff.
On the way here?
You would have seen stuff, yeah. You definitely would have seen, like, cats and birds and dogs. It's a city, you definitely see stuff.
Oh, okay.
I think at this point, the rest of us would have gone down the road, and I sort of turn and don't see Laffy.
Yeah, she's like dived into a side street.
I like face palm, and I just start running back.
I think, I don't know, I think you pal, they're looking for you, I mean, you don't want to get separated from your group. If you, I tell you what, I'm gonna give you this, and hopefully it's a little memento. And she like has this packet of seeds in her pocket. She pulls it out and she kind of casts a little spell on it. And from these twig, like these seeds rather, this little twig, this like fresh sapling kind of blooms out of it. It's about 6 inches long. She goes, take this with you. If you are a druid, and you can read this, so it implies to me that you are, because we can understand this stuff kind of like instinctively. You might be able to like do magic like this, And she hands you this. It looks like a mistletoe. instinctively, you know this is mistletoe. This thing she's handed you, it's like, this is a mistletoe wand, and you can use it to like cast your spells. I use this, and she shows you this mannequin's foot. And she goes, but that's because I cast spells in the city, and you might be more powerful, you know, in the wild. But yeah, just I'll keep an eye out for you, because it's weird you don't know this.
So I would take the wand and say thank you very much. Yeah, I don't really know a lot. I literally feel like I woke up this morning with no recollection of anything.
Oh. Well, that's not great. So, you know, take it easy. Your friend's waving for you, by the way.
No, I'm running. I'm running down the street.
So yeah, I'm just gonna, you know, get back to it. But you know, if you ever in the town again, just give me a shout. I'll show you some stuff. You know, like, and she goes, just for example, this is a thing that a lot of us can do. And she takes her hat, she puts the thing down by her feet, and she waves her hands, kind of like kind of jazz hands in front of her eyes. And as she pulls them apart from the last time, there's this big like warming, like torchlight ball of fire in her hands that she's just cupping in her hands. She goes, now this is something you might be able to find yourself to do. So yeah, just, you know, just try it out. See how you get on with the wand, and any problems, I'll try and keep an eye on you.
Can I try it right now?
Yeah, sure. So what spells do you have prepared?
The only spell that I have, well, I have Druidcraft.
Yep.
And then prepared, I've got Animal Friendship, Cure Wounds, and Healing Spirit.
So you can have, I think, 2 or 3. You can have, I think, 2 or 3 of what they call cantrips, which are spells you can cast and cast and cast and cast. Druidcraft is one of them. In fact, let me just have a look at your character sheet.
They're at will.
You can just do them how often, whatever, whenever. Most of the times. There is an asterisk sometimes.
Yeah, there's no limit to
basically
you can cast a cantrip.
Yes. If you go on your character sheet and roll in D&D Beyond, if you go to spells and manage spells,
yeah,
and you open add spells, you can still add them, and you can basically just add cantrips. So as long as D&D Beyond will allow you, so that way you can also just find out how many you can have. But it should be at least 2, I think. Wait, let me.
Yeah. So manage spells. You've still got some spells to pick, but you don't have to pick them right now. But you can cast Druidcraft as a spell, and it was the same spell she cast that allowed her to grow that wand. And so you saw when she cast that spell, she muttered something. She whispered something in this language that sounded just like the noise of wind whispering through leaves. It just kind of thing. It was distinctly words that you kind of understood and know you could replicate. So you say those words over this stick, this twig that she's given you, and it extends another 3 inches, and like 2 little berries, mistletoe berries, appear at the end of it. And she's, see, I knew it. A druid, I told you. You can do that with. You can help flowers to blossom and grow. You can even tell what the weather's going to be like. It's a great, really, really useful spell that everyone should definitely take. And it isn't a complete waste of time at all. Druidcraft, it's something that all of us use. So, but I mean, here's your friend now. So you just keep working on that.
I run up and start panting,
dragging her away like.
No, I'm not dragging. I'm just like standing there, just like finger up, just like. It's like hands on my knees, just panting.
Are all of us watching this?
Probably.
I can like turn around in surprise and be like, "Oh, Wolf, hi! I'm a druid."
Yeah. In your head, I say, "That's great. Are you ready to? What's happening?"
So I turn around and I hug Sissy and I say, "Thank you so much."
Yeah. Anytime, if you ever sit again, come back, try and find me. I'm off and about. You can often find me. flying around, being a bird, stuff like that. So, give me a shout, and we can, catch up, and I'll teach you some more spells next time you're here. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Wonderful. Yeah, cool. Peace out. And she kind of turns around and starts talking to a cat, who is very much listening and engaging with her.
I just put a hand on your shoulder and start to walk us off, and I just ask in your head, "What was that?"
And I, at this point, present the wand to Wolf and say, "She gave me this."
I sort of look at it. It's like it's a bit of wood. Well done.
I have this big goofy smile on my face, and then carry on back to the rest of the party.
I'm stunned, and I just slowly walk behind.
So, as you are heading out and out of the city, it gets to, there's a lunchtime rush as you're walking through the kind of the upper echelons of the city. It's a really busy time. There's bars, taverns, heaving with people trying to grab a quick 20 minutes to eat. But I'm assuming you guys are pressing onwards to try and get to this location as soon as possible. As you're walking, again, there's all these fantastic sights and sounds that are really distracting. There's all these people that are bustling about, but eventually you kind of get through the busiest part of the city, and things start to get a little sparser again as you reach an area that Wolf and anyone even a little bit familiar with Havenorel would recognize as the Isois walls. It's basically one large wall around the inner city, completely unbroken, always kept in reasonably good repair with houses built into it. It's a constant bit of work trying to keep it tidy and strong. It's the main door of the city that has several gates and doors to go through it, and each gate and door is very well guarded. Before you can, there's often checks and stuff, and the carts are always being stopped. There's occasional stopping of people coming in through the city, and there's people watching how many people are leaving and stuff like that. It's a very, very busy part of the city in terms of how things look like that. And so, as you are approaching them, let me just see what can somebody roll me a 2d6, please.
There you go. 5 and 6.
5 and 6, wonderful. As you approach,
So they're really good or really bad?
no, don't worry about it.
I'm not worrying about them.
I'm on the wrong side. So as you approach, you see this very, very prim and proper looking gentleman style human. So he's wearing this kind of long leather coat, and it's got this walking stick that also looks like it doubles up as an umbrella. It's very dapper, but sallow skin.
Wait, how is a walking stick also an umbrella? They don't go the same direction.
It's like an umbrella that he's using as a walking stick.
Okay.
He's got an umbrella with him that he's kind of leaning on. Yeah.
Okay.
He's
Sorry, excuse me for a second.
Yeah, he's got a very wide brim hat that covers part of what appears to be part of a caved-in skull, and he has rich blue eyes that he's watching everyone as they go to the...
I look at him back. How far away is he?
Let's say he's probably within 10 feet. As you get a little bit closer to him, this in his head's quite severe. It looks like it's a proper injury, but he's kind of watching everyone go by. He's not wearing any badge of office or anything like that.
Should we introduce him to the gutter doctor? I forget what his name was now.
No.
Ditch doctor.
No,
the ditch doctor.
In your head, I say, no, I don't think that would be a good idea.
Might be able to help him with the head.
I don't think he could help with more than, I don't know, wasting some time.
Well, often that is in itself helpful.
No. Is this guy looking at us?
He's watching everybody. He's watching absolutely everybody, and when he sees, so obviously I'm imagining you know, there's a real rich kind of city life, lots of different kind of people going in there, lots of different races, lots of different kind of statures and like social standings. But you are, I would even imagine, for this quite an unusual group, not just because you've got a raccoon person carrying a samurai sword with you, but like Cerulean's mask is very distinctive. You know, you've got a very wide-eyed elf in like a pure white gown. You've got kind of two people in like pulled-up hoods. It's a real smorgasbord of people. So you do catch his eye.
Okay, I'm gonna like look at the group and say, just wait here for a minute, let me talk to him. And I'm just gonna give them all a very intent look when I say that, and then I'm gonna go over and say in his head, what are you doing?
His eyes kind of go wide, and he locks in on you, and you hear him back and goes, now that wasn't unexpected. I was just perusing the people coming and going. I was waiting for a friend.
I don't like the way she said perusing. That made me feel slightly uncomfortable. And I'm going to say, well, it's a little bit evasive and a little bit rude, don't you think? Just staring at people out in the open.
Well, no one's questioned me before, darling.
Don't call me darling. And I'm questioning you now, so...
Well, I'm here on behalf of the tally, and they have asked me to meet a friend here.
Do I know who that is? What that is?
Make a history check.
I'm assuming it's not about Faith Fiends from Undead.
Nope.
Okay. 11.
You remember something? You remember hearing something about a group called the Blackrock Tally, who are like not quite the mafia, but that kind of thing.
Okay.
They do a lot of like illicit stuff, but they kind of have like a legitimate. You know very little about them.
Okay, so they do illegal stuff, but they have ways to get out of it.
Yeah. So they've got like a business fronts, and you know they donate to the right charities, and you know they present a legal front. But you would have coming from where you come from, you would have heard like rumblings, and maybe used some of them as informants and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I just sort of give a sigh and say, "Don't get into any trouble."
It's this big grin slowly appears on his face, and you can see that in his mouth, he's got like his teeth are all fine, apart from one of the canines is like blackened and dead and rotting in his mouth, and he looks you like dead in the eye. He goes, "Now that sounds like an invitation if ever I heard one. Get along now. Don't worry about me."
I do not like this guy. I am. Where is he? Are we like in the middle of the street, or is he like at a corner or something?
He's kind of like leaning up against the wall at the side. He's pretty conspicuous. It's like hard to miss him.
Yeah. Okay. How tall is he?
He's about 6 foot. 6 foot. Decent. Okay, quite
so
tall.
He's decent amount taller than me. Okay, so I'm going to stare daggers into him, and I'm assuming he's wearing like a cloak or something.
He's wearing like a kind of like a long duster jacket.
Okay, so I'm gonna look at him, and I'm gonna like grab the scruff of his top, and I'm gonna say, "Don't talk to me like that, or you will have the might of the Midnight Hunt on your back. So I would suggest you be on your way. Do you understand?"
There's a moment. Can you make an intimidation check, please?
Oh, it's gonna go terribly.
In the meantime,
13.
14's not too bad. 13's not too bad. So his eyes go wild and goes, "Well, that does change a few things. Maybe I shall wait inside.
Maybe you
I won't
should.
Get this though.
Neither will I.
I'm sure we'll run into each other very, very soon." And he kind of gives you this really solicitous, horribly cringy wink, kind of brushes his coat down,
Oh.
picks up his umbrella, and, like puts it against your shoulder, and gently pushes you out of the way with his umbrella, and strolls past you.
I let him go, but I keep note of it.
That has drawn attention from like one or two of the guards, but they aren't good over. They just like watch you a little bit, and then they. Is anyone wearing the armband like visibly? The armband visibly?
Nope.
Not really, no.
Okay. Okay.
What was that group called? The Tally.
The Black Rock Tally. You don't know a lot about them. Like you've kind of heard it mentioned. It's not really something you yourself would have done. Maybe you've heard them mentioned in someone else's report, or someone's complaining about them getting in the way or bringing something in illegal, that kind of thing.
Don't worry, I was just writing it down for later.
Yeah. But you could recognise this guy again. I won't give you his name because he didn't give it yet. But yeah, so heading on.
Yeah, I just walked back to the group with a smile, act like nothing happened, and keep going.
Okay. Pushing through the gates, it's kind of like bottlenecks a little bit. So you're all kind of squidged up against each other. You know, it's a really human smell as you're pushing through these gates. You know, there's horses that go through here. Unless you're really, really careful where you step, you're going to step in a horse bomb, and you finally, after what feels like minutes and minutes and minutes, have been shunted along this very, very tight area. You kind of pop through, and the crowd immediately disperses, and you're like, oh, breathe out again as you step through, and you come to the edge of the inner city, and it's kind of like early mid-afternoon, kind of like 2 or 3 o'clock at this point. Cerulean Wolf, that you've not made amazing time. Like, you are not as far as
I didn't
like
think so.
Yeah, you think that like you could probably get there, and it would be night, like it would be deep night, and traveling like the last couple of miles might be difficult if you were to go that way. But like you could still do it if you wanted.
Would I know of any? So it's like 2 or 3, so we still have
You've still got a good amount of time left, yeah.
And I definitely do not want to be trying to corral all these people at nighttime. So I think, knowing when it gets dark, I'll see if I can remember or just know of any, inns or something that sort of line up with that time frame.
Yeah, I mean, like at the very, very edge of Havenorel, which is, within 2 hours walk of this. Well, let's say 3 hours walk of, the place you're headed to. So let's say 10 miles away from this place you're going to be staying from, or going to rather. There's like at the edge of the city there are like some establishments, let's call them, that aren't like, they're not going to win any awards. Let's put it like that. They are pretty rough places, but you'll be able to get like a couple of rooms from like a 3 silver a night kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fine. I think just trying to find the closest, like the place that would be, close as we can get to the house, within, evening.
A reasonable amount of time, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not too dark by the time we get there.
Okay, cool. As you're heading through, Lou, you kind of walking through. As you're walking through this walkway, we're all squeezed in. You're trying to make sure you're keeping an eye on everything, because you've got, you said you're the scout, and you're trying to keep an eye out. You see the same guard you saw last night, the one who sneezed. You kind of see him, and he's kind of relaxing up against the side of a wall, like smoking a cigarette. Seems to be chilling out.
Does he? So he's just relaxing. Is he on his own?
No, it's like there's 2 or 3 other guards like around him. They're clearly part of some kind of like gate watch. Like this will be their duty for this afternoon. They make sure that no one's getting up to mischief on the doorways out in and out of the city.
I'm just going to keep a watch on them. I'm not going to say anything yet, because I don't really have a solid idea of what his goals are, like what he was searching for the last night.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep, an eye.
Okay, cool. You pass through. He doesn't notice you looking at him. He's not paying attention very not paying very close attention to anything. He's just enjoying his cigarette, looking up at the sky. Kind of every now and then he's glancing across the area to keep an eye on what's going on, but he doesn't seem to be bothered about what's happening. And he's just chatting with his the other guards there. So you all get through, and the day kind of progresses on, and the houses kind of get older and older. The further out you get, and less kind of fancy, more basic. But the amount of people decreases quite sharply after a while, and you're kind of in, let's call it, I won't call it a shanty town, but kind of a, everything's very dilapidated. Like windows are smashed and boarded up, doors are hanging on. All of the niceties have been. You've kind of left them in the centre of the city, and this is, this is the kind of area where you've really got to watch out for things because. This is the land of the cutthroat and the pickpocket.
I'm keeping a very close watch.
Are there any signs that a gang has moved in or marked this as their territory?
There's a pair of sneakers tied over the lamp railing.
Yeah. You would know, like you would see this actually. Like, you would because you can read, thieves can, and you can. Look, kind of like how Laffy could read instinctively the druidic note on the wall. You can see there are clan markings and gang markings, rather, not clan markings. Gang markings on the wall that indicate that this is not a safe place to be after dark. You see you see a couple of signs that you're familiar with. You kind of this shop has kind of like a warning: do not rob this shop. This guy has got a really dangerous crossbow, and he's not afraid to use it, kind of thing. This street is monitored by the doll faces, what else is it? Steel silence, 50 gold per head, things like that. Just like all these little markings that you see, kind of like it give you indication this is like a really rough part of town. And then one thing catches your eye. Just as you're walking through, there's this large pigeon coop, because pigeons are still used to send messages, especially over long distances. There's pigeons, there's ravens, there's all sorts of smart birds in there, and there's a message under there that you would know is the Cassianaires, the same group who were able to smuggle you into Havenorel. That if you needed to get in touch with them, that's where you do it.
Good to know.
Would I notice any of this stuff? Probably not as much as Lou. But I would know that this is. I don't, but I think I would know that this is a bad.
Oh yeah, you would know for a fact this is a bad area. Yeah.
And seeing as it's getting to evening sort of time, it's starting to get a bit dark. What I want to do is just not aggressively or anything. Just so I want to just unclip from my back one of my hand crossbows and just pull my cloak to the side so it covers my arm, and just hold it in my hand as we walk. And what I'm gonna do is none of you notice this, I don't think. You can amend that if they do. But I would say Laffy would probably notice because the high pass perception. I give sort of a slight grunt or a squeak, and if you're looking or paying much attention, you see that sort of around me and anyone who's around me, sort of it's slightly darker, not noticeably, but sort of just the shadows sort of get a bit darker, and everything just gets slightly more monochromatic almost. And if you're looking, you can see sort of my mask doesn't cover all my face, or all the bottom of my face. You can still see my lips, and you see a slight bit of blood sort of trickling down my lip, but I don't mention it, as I'm using one of my things.
Ugh. Gross blood. Yeah. Okay. So what thing is it you're using? Because I don't know what you're doing.
It's my Crimson Rite. My Rite of...
Oh, so you just activated it on your weapon just in case?
I activated it, yeah. Because it lasts until you either take a long or short rest, or until you drop the weapon, so it lasts forever if I wanted to.
Okay, cool. Cool.
So just hand it out.
You would see like there's writing on the walls as well that is in common. And there's like clear evidence here of like fights. It's like there's like broken and discarded weaponry. You walk past one house and there's a guy like nursing a broken nose who looks up at you and like kind of gives you daggers. If you stare at him too long. It's just not a pleasant. He just glares at you, as you see him, and just watches you as you go past. And then when you kind of like just getting out of sight, he leans back and whispers something to someone in the room like next to him. But he's definitely watching you. And can everyone actually make me a perception check?
Absolutely.
Nat 20, 25.
I will just now.
Probably today.
Gee,
I will
whiz,
just
there's a
now
6 in the group.
consciously rest my hand on my sheathed sword.
Yeah, I mean, it's not completely unreasonable for you guys to do that. Cerulean Wolf, Azalea, and Bun, you both see that. Sorry, all of the three of you see that you are like not being tailed, but there are definitely people like watching what you're doing, like from the roofs. Like you, Azalea, you see like a flash, like a shape that, and then it moves. But Laffy and Cerulean Wolf, you see there's this face, completely featureless white face. It's clearly a mask that's like peering from behind something, and then it disappears, and then the same kind of face with the same clothes pops up somewhere else and is just watching you go. And you're, as a group, have attracted a little bit of attention, and whilst they're not following you like down the street, it's very clear that you are being tracked through the area you're walking through.
I would know that they are the doll faces, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Would I know about them?
Make a history check.
Sure.
I will say to everyone, as I notice this, just in their heads, just say, don't do anything brash, just they'll leave us alone, we just need to get to the inn.
Yeah, this
A 14,
place is a
Lou.
bit creepy.
I feel like at this point I would feel like because obviously Wolf was the one that came after me when I disconnected from the group. I feel like I would trust her the most, so I would sort of edge towards her, almost like I'm behind her.
Okay. So yeah, you kind of like side alongside I don't know what you're doing, but it sounds like you're juggling tinfoil. You kind of side up alongside Wolf, and you can see this like little bit of blood running inside the inside of a mask.
If I may, I will go to Wolf and ask, if possible, silent, as possible, as good as possible. If something happens, if we are fighting or if we are running, because for both, at least for fighting, I can help the group. If we are trying to get away, I think I have a reliable way, but it just doesn't help anybody else.
In his head back, I will say, if we get into a fight, I trust you and that sword to go that direction. I point to where the inn should be, like where I know the inn is, and take them with you. I will catch up with you, and I will hold them off and then catch up with you.
Did someone say fight?
That's in
No,
his
because
head.
he
You
had
don't hear
said
that?
to you.
Okay. Okay. I look at you, just sort of grunt.
Other points of view, nothing is happening. Like, just they're both staring at each other.
I'm not staring. I'm just I look for like half a second and then look back. Azalea, in your head, you say, "Don't worry, there's just some tails." And then to everyone, I'll say, if someone does try and fight us, attack us, I will have you all follow Kudo, and I'll meet you at the inn when I can.
Oh, I shouldn't
Do you
have come
understand?
to a city. I knew it was going to be a problem.
I would have a closer look at Wolf's face and notice the blood and say as quietly as possible, "Are you okay?"
Yes, don't worry, I'm fine.
You were okay, hon?
Yes, I'm fine.
Me, babe.
I feel like I would not believe the "yes, I'm fine" and look very concerned.
I sort of, you see like a smile on my face. I say, don't worry, I'm actually fine.
Okay. If you're 14, Lou, you would know that the doll faces are generally understood to be like a thieves, not a thieves guild, but as close to a thieves guild as you would get here. You might have heard of them up in the north, but they are they're a group of thieves who work mainly in Havenorel, but sometimes just outside of it as well. No one has any idea how many of them there are, all because they all wear the same plain masks to disguise their identities. No one knows if this is an organization or just like 5 people, or just people who heard the legends of the doll faces and just wear masks to get away with stuff because it's a convenient excuse to steal. No one has any idea about the structure or the internal machinations of it. They just know that some people rob with these masks on. They are like completely unpredictable. Like sometimes they'll like highway robber style stand and deliver your money or your life. Sometimes they'll lift money from people's pockets, like pickpocket them, and sometimes they'll rob to the rich. Occasionally, rumor has it is that they give the money to like beggars and the homeless of the city. But you know they're just rumors you've heard. So you basically could see a group of unknowns.
Can I try by walking behind Wolf? Can I try to sneakily cast Detect Magic?
What are the components of Detect Magic?
Verbal and Somatic.
So you would have to roll a stealth or sleight of hand.
Yes.
Because you've literally picked the 2 that require arm waves and noise.
Subtle.
Oh.
Yeah, subtle. So you try to like subtly cast it.
Can I have advantage because I said I would be walking behind Wolf, Wolf is considerably bigger than me, and so should probably.
How about this? I'll take that into an account. But what you need to do is you need to make some kind of gesture and sound. So, what is the gesture you make for Detect Magic? There's like some Doctor Strange hand shit going on.
Yeah, that's what I would assume, and not like big. No, I don't know what else.
No,
I
he's
would
clearly
assume.
playing like an Asian-inspired character. It's like Naruto hand signs.
Yeah, that's the same as Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is doing jutsus.
So what I imagine as you're walking down the street is you get behind, because you've rolled so poorly, it becomes slightly hilarious. You've got behind Wolf and tried to do this spell subtly, but you kind of doing like Voguing style, like hands like, yeah, slay.
It's like the Power Rangers.
Just doing the Madonna Vogue choreography.
Yeah, Vogue, yeah. And so like there's this brief flurry of hands that just attracts so much fucking attention.
Just as a side note, I was so scared you would have went with. You just start making those signs and you suddenly notice the energy around you being shifted, and you notice. I just thought about doing random gang signs. That it would fit.
Are you casting Detect Magic on me?
No, on me. How would I cast it on you?
Well, I mean, like, are you looking at what I have? That's what I mean.
No, I would see what you have, but I'm more focused on what is happening.
Okay.
Basically, I have magic vision, radar, pings.
Yeah.
So you cast Detect Magic. Some of the things you pick up on, there is a certain amount of low-level magic just around you anyway. Nothing to like set off alarm bells. It's like a 30-foot kind of circle around you. You first don't spot anything, it's kind of just like normal stuff. There's not a lot of magical items in this part of the town. Occasionally, when you see these figures, let's say one of them appears at a roof looking down at you, and they're not being like super subtle about it. Like, it's quite clear that they want you to know that you're being watched. One of them, like this first figure you see, has like this something magical on their wrist. It's like abjuration magic. You can't really see what it is. It's just like this glowing kind of like neon thing on their wrist. It looks like some kind of bracelet or maybe some kind of bracer that is setting off your detect magic. When they disappear, obviously it goes out of sight, and then there's another figure that appears in exactly the same garb, but this time doesn't have the glowing wrist. Instead, they've got what looks like a magical dagger, but they're like right at the edge of your spell. They're just keeping an eye on you, and so that happens like 2 or 3 times.
Would my ring also come into play, or does it shield me from this?
No, your ring would also glow, yeah.
And I think I would mention, or he would see, just around me, sort of coming from my right hand, sort of, like the main focus is my right hand, but sort of in like a 10-foot area, there's like a slight bit of evocation. Not much, just very faint.
Yeah, so you would notice stuff on the party as well. Like Laffy's got this wand that's glowing with enchantment magic. There's like the odd little bits here and there that catch your eye, but nothing major. And the ones that you see, they can clearly be seen, and it becomes pretty obvious to you within over like a 10-minute period as you're walking through that it's not the same person. There's at least kind of like 3 or 4 of them, but like after a while, as you get out of this area that's called the Shades, it like this slum area, it kind of like fades away and becomes more kind of a little bit more rural as you kind of get out of the city proper, turn a corner, and all of a sudden you can see like rolling fields, and like houses become a lot less regular. You're still on a really well trodden road, but all of a sudden you are kind of out of the city, and that tail, whatever it is alleviated, and you kind of feel that oppression of being watched evaporate, and you are kind of, for the first time since you've been in the bar, kind of alone on the street. There's not really many other people around. There's a couple of like roads that feed into this bigger road that's heading north and winding away, and there's other kind of smaller roads that join into it. So there's like a guy pulling a guy with a donkey pulling a cart, about 200 yards in front of you, who's just trundling away. There's odd people on the road, but this is the first time that like you've been alone as a group, and you've been able to kind of spread out a little bit as you're walking down the roads, and the brightness of the day has gone a little bit. You can smell this kind of foggy lake smell that you're approaching. It's like it's not a saltiness. It's kind of like, kind of the rotten smell of seaweed and like stagnant water. You can kind of just get a whiff of that in the air as you're heading down, but there's still very much, you're not like in the in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. You're kind of, there's buildings, and there's houses every so often, and there's like signposts, and occasionally you will get past somebody, but you're very much now alone as a group, and you can see kind of that the sun is kind of dipping now. Let's say it's like 5 or 6 in the afternoon. You've not stopped to eat since breakfast, so even though it was a great breakfast, you're getting tired now as a group. You've been on the road a long time. You've had a fairly hectic day so far of travel and shenanigans, and you can see kind of at the cusp of your vision there is an inn, and the inn is called the Kingsmith. He says as he moves the book and reads. The inn is called the Kingsmith Inn, and it's the one you were aiming for. And it does not look like a king that's ever stayed here. Ever. It very much looks like the kind of place you would, if you had the option, to drive past.
So now we're sort of out of that area, I'm a bit more relaxed. I take a deep breath, and after a little bit I point out the inn and say, we're going to stay there for the night. We're not too far from the house, if I recall correctly. So, is everyone doing okay? No, it was a little bit tense for a moment.
Who is willing to share room?
I mean, I can.
I could as well, but I am the only male of this group, am I not?
You are?
But you
Would
are
it be
also a
weird at this
raccoon,
point?
so, I mean,
You don't have to do me like this.
We could get 3 rooms. 2 people share and 1 for Trash Panda.
Well, if you're comfortable, we could just go with. Wait.
Well, I think one would be a little bit small.
James.
Yeah.
How would you consider resting in my other form? In the at will form.
Yeah. I suppose you could do that. It wouldn't be the most comfortable, but like you could do it.
Well, I would guess the bed in this inn wouldn't be the most comfortable as well.
Yeah, I mean you could do it, and you'd roll a check to see if you're able to get a decent night's sleep. But yeah, you could do it. Like you might have done, but it's like it's not what you'd want to do, but you could do it if you had to.
If we want to save some money, I don't really have to use a bed.
I mean,
At least not here.
Money's not an issue. It's fine. We can just get another room. It's not that
money is
expensive.
no issue.
You're paying, right?
Well, I would assume we'd all pay for individual rooms, or the
Oh.
rooms we'd stay in.
Trash Panda, I don't mind sharing a room with you.
Well,
Well, if Kudo's sharing a room, then we'd probably only need 2.
That makes sense to me.
You two
You're
are
not
not
tempted to go for one big bed there.
No.
Dog pile.
No.
Before we enter, you guys should know this.
or
Harold,
wait a
please go
second.
out.
Do I want to share a room with Lou after what happened at breakfast?
Eating in the room.
She's gonna get out her weird water skin with Sambuca.
I already drank that on the way here.
How?
And it's fire water skin just nailed.
Shh.
You're so
What did you want to
hydrated.
say?
This
Sorry,
is
I was
amazing.
sorry. I was
Anybody-
getting.
Anybody want to swap room partners?
Nope, I'm fine.
You approach the Kingsmith.
Well,
the
didn't
fine-
Lou want to say something?
Oh yeah, Lou. Sorry, yeah. Or was it just
Oh,
asking
yes.
about the Sambuca water?
No, I was going to introduce Harold, but I think it can wait.
Okay, cool. Yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
no, Harold was.
Harold.
You get
we'll
to know
wait.
later.
Yeah.
Ah,
You approach the Kingsmith, which is it doesn't look like a king's ever stayed here. You walk past an empty stable that is like pretty well stocked with hay and water and stuff, like feed bags. You get like the building itself does have that alehouse stank. You know, you walk in, you're like, oh yeah, wow, okay. People drink in here. People do drink in here.
wake up and smell the booze.
Yeah. There's like you see some of the food, and it is nowhere near as nice as the stuff that you were like fed earlier. But you see a stout red-headed woman who is like she's wearing an apron that is just coated in blood, but just doesn't seem to bother about it whatsoever. And she doesn't appear to have any wounds, so presumably it isn't hers. Who is serving, a couple of people some drinks from behind the bar.
I'm gonna go up to her. Just sort of.
Hello there, my dear. How can I do for you today?
In her head, she hears, can we have 2 rooms, please?
Oh, sure. There's quite a fair few of you. Do you want 4 or 5? Wait, 5 divided by 2 is
2.5, so we'll just round it down.
2.5. So yeah, but then there's one person without a bed, my dear.
That's fine.
Okay, I'm not one to judge. You didn't by any chance happen to see a horse out there, did you?
Did we see a horse out there?
No.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, not to worry, not to worry. Okay, so 2 rooms it were with 4 beds. You sure you don't want one room with 3 beds? I can do you one with like a little cot at the bottom of the room.
Don't worry, it's fine.
Okay. Do you want any food, drink, breakfast?
Would like some bread.
Bread? Yeah, we got bread. We got bone meal bread. We got.
Well, don't add that. Don't add that to this. They can pay for it themselves. How much is your room?
Okay. So room is 3 silver per person, per bed. You've got your keys here. They don't really work. The keys. It just keeps the door shut. You know. I mean, it won't stand up to. You know, if I want to get in, I can get in. But don't you worry about it. I won't come and knock it. But you've got in your room. You've got your water. You've got a bucket, and you've got a bed. 2 beds, in fact, in each room, but only one bucket.
Great.
So we don't have bathrooms upstairs, is what I'm saying.
Don't worry about it. I just say back to the group. I'll pay for this. Just whatever else you want, get it yourself.
Bread?
In a moment. And I hand.
I'll turn this car around, goddammit.
And I hand her what?
12 silver.
Say that again, sir.
12 silver or 1 gold and 2 silver.
Silver. Okay.
I come up behind Wolf and give her 1 gold.
Oh, I was just gonna do that. Don't worry about it.
Oh, would you like a receipt?
So wait, 1 gold and 2 silver.
Shut up! I give her 1 gold. You give her 1 gold, and then we should have ale for tonight.
Okay.
So okay, you want to put the rest of it on like a bar tab for the 5 of you?
Yeah, sure.
We can do that. Sure. Yeah. Sure. So here are your keys. You're in room. You're in what we call the princess suite, and you're in the honeymoon suite. Don't get overexcited about the names. My husband named them.
Don't worry, we won't.
Yeah. So princess suite, honeymoon suite, and the Wi-Fi password is King Smith 123.
I take the key. I take 1 and hand the other to Kudo.
I take out my iPhone, put in the Wi-Fi password.
And just start swiping TikTok.
Yeah. Would you? So you guys.
I'm
go
checking out the
up.
Tinder dates in the area.
Yeah. Would you like me to get some food on for you? What would you like to have for dinner? Because your room comes with dinner, by the way. I should have mentioned. No breakfast. We're not open for breakfast. You have to sort yourself out, but we do a dinner.
Do you have a tomato mozzarella salad?
No.
Wow.
We got bread. We can do you. We can do you.
Do you have borscht?
Oh, you have borscht. Of course, you got borscht. Yeah. A nice
a bread sandwich.
I can do you a bread sandwich here, or toast sandwich. A real delicacy from these parts.
I think people who like them are crazy. Do you have anything sweet?
Only me, my lover. No. What we've got is we've got some. I think I've got some fondant outside. Maybe I think a couple of cakes. I'll have to have a look. I'm not sure. I think.
You know what? I'll just have a pie, and if you can, maybe a hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate.
If you can do that.
Yeah, I think I can manage. I think let's have a hot chocolate. Yeah, of course. Okay. If you want to go grab a table, I'll bring it all up. So we got a borscht, a hot chocolate. Anything else for anybody? Sausage roll? We got sausage rolls.
For me, 2 ales, please.
2 ales?
Like a sausage roll.
A sausage roll, okay. What about for you two, my dearest?
I'll just have some water, please. And like Azalea's not looking
I
at
wouldn't
her.
have the water from around here. It's all from the lake. We're not a water drinking group.
I put a hand on Azalea's shoulder. 2 pies. 1 for her.
I take a big whiff of the smell of food, and it turns my stomach. So I just shake my head.
Oh, okay. Well, I will go and sort you out with some stuff to eat for most of you. My dear, if you don't want water, we do have milk, but I will tell you, it's still warm from the teat, not mine. I assure you.
He says, no one thought it until you said it. No one thought it until you said it.
No,
With a voluptuous
it's
woman like
milk.
myself, it's from the cow.
Mhm.
Well, it's about 6 at night, so I can't say fresh.
She liked
But
eating
it's-
through the apron.
Oh, Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
Now you mentioned it, there was a cat, right, who came in the other day who started wailing.
Stop.
And it
Stop.
got me. I couldn't believe it.
I'm
Horrible.
gonna say to her, just get what you think is right,
Okay.
and we'll be over there.
A milk for you? Orange, how about we can do you a fresh pressed orange juice? How about that?
That sounds nice, thank you.
Okay, so she picks up an orange, holds it over a glass, and goes. Squeezes the shit out of this orange. and goes,
I just
There you
go
go.
and sit. I just go and sit on the table with my head in my hands.
Yes, I will join Wolf and just wait for my ales.
She brings you over to like frothy, like proper steins of ale, plonks them on the table with a bowl of Borscht ale. By the way, it sounds like an awful dinner. But she spots it in front of
Probably
you.
all liquids.
There's a sausage roll. There's like the couple of glasses of this like relatively warm milk, which I personally don't think sounds very appealing. And there's some gins on the table, and she goes, "What we've got, if you don't want, I would not recommend the water. Just as I say, it's not fresh. But what we can do is we've got some very light ales that are like, we call them breakfast ales because it just kind of fills your stomach. But you won't. It's not a drinking ale. It's not a get drunk ale. It's like a meal replacement. Like a Guinness. Imagine a Guinness. A fancy Guinness. Or we got the Sir Cuffington's ale. Ginger beer. If you want the ginger, if you want something non-alcoholic, we've got the Cuffington's ginger ale.
I have 2 questions. Can I have some bread with borscht? And
Yes,
second, can you already prepare another ale for me, please? I think it's needed
yeah, sure,
for
of course.
this evening.
Yes.
And I just start downing the first ale.
Wonderful.
I'll
So
take
she
a
comes
ginger
back
ale
with
as well,
like a.
please.
Okay, so she brings over these ginger ales. She brings over like a little.
Oh, I'm not drinking ginger ale.
No.
No. So she brings
We
it
are.
on you, and she puts like 6 kind of like relatively cool ginger ale bottles, and they've got this really ornamental logo on them, Cuffington Farms ginger ale, with this like printed picture of this like laughing farm woman on it. It's like very distinctive. It's like one of the few kind of like not universal brands, but most people know it when they see it. This ginger ale shipped everywhere, and it's like in most bars. And it's like you pop it off, and it's super fizzy. It like it just makes you burp almost straight away. It's awesome.
I get my straw out.
Your reusable
I'll
metal
grab
straw.
a bottle.
Yeah.
I'll grab a bottle of the ginger ale and neck half of it, and then end up with hiccups.
That's
Uh,
true.
Can you roll me a d20, please?
Oh no.
Oh no.
This is how loud the burp's going to be.
Oh, please. Repeat
This is gonna be the
nat
nat
20.
20. This is gonna be the nat 20.
Please.
Do it.
So there's a little d20
On the
symbol.
bottom, on the
Of
bottom
the-
left of beyond.
Oh yeah, got it.
I think that might just roll.
I don't know why it rolls so slowly. It
Oh,
literally.
because
Yeah,
you've
I
got
think you
the
can-
animated on. But there's one in roll
Yeah.
20 as well. On the left-hand side of the screen, there's like a d20 icon.
Wait.
Yeah, it's not there for me. It wasn't there last
Oh,
time.
that's
either.
cool.
And also decrease the quality of the dice, so maybe that will make them go faster.
Or in the chat bar, if you type /r1d20, it'll
Yeah.
roll the dice for you there.
It's done it. It's just not. There it is.
Oh,
It's black.
oh,
it's
20.
nat 20.
It's just not 20. You drink this, and you think you're okay. Have you seen that TikTok where the woman is drinking
Oh,
Sprite?
not this
Yeah.
again.
Yeah,
Not this
it's that you neck it and you go, and
It's like
it
poetry
it
in rhymes.
rattles the windows, and it's a belch from your very soul,
I
basically.
didn't know you could cast thaumaturgy.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's like the air around the table is just filled with like the gingery smell of your breath. And you
Wolf has been very like you actually have not heard them speak, but I can't help but just laugh. Like laugh at that.
like
and
flinches, and her hands immediately go to her pocket, and she glares at you and goes, "You scared Harold." And from her pocket, she's going to show this small brown mouse with a small scarlet scarf that's like cowering in her hand, like while covering his ears.
Oh my
Who's
god.
attacking? Who's attacking?
No, I'm not attacking. I was just rolling because of to see if whatever settings, if they were doing anything.
I'm in love with Harold, and we must protect him.
yeah,
He's the new Barbara.
Harold looks up at you, his little whiskers going, squeak, 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 squeak.
He's Harold is not the new Barbara. He's the new Margaret.
So he looks around, and you guys, you drinking your drinks, you have your food, and we will leave it there for tonight because it's 11 on the dot, and that's a good time to end it, I think. And we will pick up again next week.
Oh god.
She
I
did
have
say
had a
she
toast
had two
sandwich, and
types
they're
of sandwich.
surprisingly good.
Oh, nauseous.
Yeah. The toast sandwiches, for those the uninitiated, is a piece of toast between two slices of bread with a bit of salt and pepper on it, and it's
Yep.
surprisingly tasty. Honest to God, try it.
Something
Before you
wrong
judge
with
it, try it. It's because you.
Oh, there's something
all the
fundamentally wrong with you.
No, I tried it
It's
when I was
three
Yeah.
slices of bread, one of which is a bit crispier than the others.
Yeah, and it's like eating like a hash brown sandwich. Like you bite into it and it's crispy.
Just have
Yeah,
a hash
just-
brown
yeah,
sandwich.
Yeah, just have a hash
Well,
brown.
no, because
Please
honestly,
tell me that
Just
you
have a
put
chip
butter
butter.
on the toast.
but yeah, you put butter on the bread and then you put the
I was
toast
gonna
between
say,
the
okay.
bread. But then
That
you
doesn't
honestly,
save it much.
Just try it. Just try it. All it will take you is 3 slices of bread and 2 minutes out of your life. And if
I
you
wanna
hate
Yeah,
it, you
that's
never
the
try it
problem.
again.
concept of real filling in a sandwich. Don't know if you've had
No,
this
because I had it when I
before.
was ill, and it's changed my life. I mean, I grew
Okay,
up.
so
when I grew up
he had it
in
when he
the
was
night-
ill, so he wasn't thinking straight.
I,
Okay, that's fine.
I had a cold and I hadn't eaten properly in a few days. I was like, I need something carby.
Oh
And
right,
someone
okay, so you
told
hadn't
me-
eaten in a while. So, okay, yeah. now
And
it
so
makes
someone was
sense.
like, try toast sandwich. And I was like, that sounds gross. And like, just try it. And I was like, okay. I once ate like a head of lettuce, kind of just by itself as a meal.
That's
so I
fine.
will eat
That's
an
better.
entire head of lettuce, like an apple.
Okay, that's a bit weird,
Yeah.
but it's better.
It's better, yeah. So I tried it,
Like
and it's really good.
feral rabid, like
Dude,
I don't know,
yeah.
rabbit or something.
But it was like, and I bit into it. And I was like, actually, this is ticking all the boxes for like an okay to good sandwich. It's like a crisp sandwich. It's the same thing as a crisp sandwich.
James, it's
crunchy.
bread. It's literally bits of bread.
Honestly, try it. Honestly,
No.
and if you hate it, I will be like, okay, fair. But everyone I've tried to,
No
I'm gonna
flavour.
record
There's not a
myself
single
eating
flavour.
this. Yeah, I
the
don't.
flavour
Flavour is
comes from the
wheat.
butter and the salt and
That's
pepper and the bread. So you got to use like an okay
The-
bread.
Anyway, we keep walking.
Anyway, so you walk
Yes,
past someone
in
eating
a
a bread
5-minute
sandwich, and Lou like high fives as they go past.